Welcome, guys and gals, to another edition of Show Us, Don't Tell Us. Thanks for joining us tonight, and it's another fine Monday night, and I hope everybody's weather's getting better. It's really got to start warming up. This is ridiculous, man. We had to get through all this rain and that, and I swear I said, I looked at his freaking backward window there, and I said, no, and his ark, and he had a few critters in there floating down the street. Anyways, we do indeed have Mr. Michael Bejas, our current engineer, Guy, and we have Papa Bear rejoined once again in a better state of mind and pocket as well. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to toss this off to Papa for now. And hey, as far as subjects, oh, come on, man. You know how it goes here, man. We switch gears like there's no tomorrow. So, Papa, it's all you, brother.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for inviting me. Welcome to Show Us, Don't Tell Us. I'm glad to be here. I'm honored to be asked, actually. Thank you very much. Michael, I'm handing it right to you, man.
Well, I will tell you, hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday. And this is the 15th. I believe that's correct, the day after Mother's Day. And I'll tell you what. It's going to be a fantastic evening. So welcome to Show Us, Don't Tell Us. And we're going to get off with a few things tonight. And I'll tell you what. Been a lot going on in the news. And, you know, we have so many wonderful things to cover tonight. But I think that we're going to start it off and go down the holistic road with the holistic doctors. And we noticed that there's been a lot of them out there that all of a sudden have met their demise. So, you know, we're a little curious as to whether we know why they are meeting their demise. There's been more than a handful, and it's all been within the last probably 8 years. Does it have something?
Yeah.
Does it have something to do with the pharmaceutical companies? Does it not?
Well, I don't know. There's been a lot of them, but there were like 8 of them that they all shared one thing. You know, they had one thing in common, and that was this thing called a nagalase enzyme. They discovered that this nagalase enzyme was being added into vaccines. Okay. It prevents vitamin D from being produced in the body, which that's your defense for cancer. You know, vitamin D is a defense. So when, you know, these skin cancer doctors, they tell you cover up, you know, stay out of the sun, you know, wear a hat and stuff like that, keep the sun off your body because it's bad for the cancer. Well, they're full of it. Vitamin D is good for cancer. I mean, not good for cancer to help it grow, but it's good for the body to help get rid of cancer. It's necessary. It's also necessary to prevent autism. Okay. This stuff disables the immune system. All right. But yeah, there were like 8 doctors that were all studying this one subject, and they're all gone one at a time from different
Here's
murdered, actually.
Can you guys hear me or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't sure because I unfortunately I was coughing and I couldn't get to my mute button. But anyways, okay. Now, these people that bathe in these so-called tanning beds, you know, does that give them the same amount of the so-called vitamin D that they need? You know, the ones that, you know, when they hit about 60, they look like freaking prunes. You know what I'm saying? So they should be cancer-free. Yeah.
I don't think tanning beds will give you vitamin D. The only thing a tanning bed is going to give you is UV, the ultraviolet for the color. But you know what I mean? For that.
Well, that's a bit of
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
good heavens, somebody needs to successfully look this up now.
I mean, UV is what burns you, right? I don't think vitamin D burns you.
Well,
more questions than
too much of it is not good for you for myself, I have to take vitamin D, and I take it actually comes out to like 50,000 units that I have to take twice a week because basically my body is not producing any. So
Really?
it's one of those things to where I take the pills, and of course they do, because my body is trying to take it in so fast, it does have some side effects that I've noticed. I become lethargic, a little more tired. And then after a day or two, I actually recoup a little bit, and I feel much better. But having lupus, the sun is kind of my enemy, because if I'm out in the sun too much, then that puts me into a flare. So I have to know what I can do and what I can't do. But I still, getting back to it, these doctors and the different things that are going on, and the way that they're treating patients more with holistic medicines, have they encroached upon the pharmaceutical companies? Is something happening to them? And we can't prove anything. We don't know anything.
You don't make money off of health people is the bottom line. It's simple.
Right. But here's the thing. I mean, doctors have an incentive to distribute these vaccines. All right. For every, for every 200 children under the age of 2 that gets a full regimen of vaccines, they get $40,000. I mean,
yes,
there's a reason why they say that the wicked shall prosper, right? I mean, and they're thinking about the wallet. They don't care what this stuff does to people. And you ask them, can you bring out the pamphlet on this and tell me what's in it? That ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. And you're injecting this in my body? Seriously? I mean, food is medicine. Anything you put into your body's going to react to. And that's right down to the gum you chew. It's going to react to all of it. You get vitamin D from milk. Although milk is used to grow cows, you'll still get vitamin D from it.
Yes.
To nourish baby cows, to turn them into real beef critter, We wonder why men have boobs now.
I'll tell you what, if I was dropped out on a frickin' desert island, I don't know what it is, man, and I had one drink of choice, even though I do indeed like my beer. But, man, it'd have to be milk. I don't know what it is about that stuff. I'll knock down a couple, 3-4 bowls of frickin' cereal after having my ramen noodles and heavily caked with cayenne pepper. I gotta have my milk, man. And my oldest son's the same way. Outside of us two, everybody else in the family's like, eh. But the oldest boy and me, man, we can knock down some serious milk, man. I don't know what it is about that stuff. Even though it's supposed meant for calves, but oh yeah, I gotta have that every morning.
Yeah.
A couple tablespoons.
Well, look at you. I mean, God, what are you? 6'5"?
6'4". My oldest boy's 6'5".
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Here's the freaking midget guy. But,
yeah.
No,
I'm a midget guy, 5'11", 5'9",
Yeah, well, that's about my son Joel. My oldest daughter's 5'9". Yeah. So, that's tall for a girl. But,
yes,
in regards to the hormones, no, actually, I mean, I have read where, in regards to the hormones, they do indeed not so much put in food, but how it works its way down the food chain. They claim that women, girls, teenage girls, whatever, nowadays compared to roughly 10 years ago, generally on average have they're 1 cup size bigger.
Really?
1 cup size bigger. Yep.
I'll blame it on the milk. It's the milk, I tell you. And if you tell the girls it's the milk, they'll drink a lot of it.
And not a cup of milk. Yeah, right.
And that'll make everything else bigger too, so
what?
Careful. You wind up with large children.
Nope.
Or extra large children.
Either that or be the large mammalian protuberances and have a cantilever, or you will have back problems the older you get. But anyways, what I wanted to bring up here as well, as we switch 1,000 gears, is the other day going to work, these freaking cameras. Not, I mean, the cops take radar on that, but I mean, on the bridge, currently where is right down the road from where I go to work, and I was stuck at that red light. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to Pop on the phone on my way to work. And I looked over, stuck at the red light, and here's a cop. He's standing on the bridge with the traffic camera, snapping pictures, and of course they get fired off to you. You get your picture with your mug on it and license plate in the mail and a fine. I've got an issue with that. They should be in a car, have it manned, because here is my bitch, you might say, and you can't even debate this. This is undebatable. Nobody, this is game over. When it falls out the front of my pie hole, it's done. All right, now, if you have a man in a car, all right, and you pull somebody over for speeding 2 to 1 on your computer screen, on your laptop, because they have laptops, and I've spoken with a cop, and he showed me how it works. He says they'll type in a number or your license plate number, either that or if they have those readers now where it just automatically pops in. If anything pops up in red, you probably have a warrant or you got something going on, unpaid tickets, whatever, parking tickets, and they pull you over, right? Well, you got this goofy freaking on a bridge taking snapshots of people. No, okay, I just snapshotted a guy that has a warrant out for his arrest, but I'm up here on the bridge, and there he goes. Oh, we'll send him that bill in the mail. Yeah, we'll see if he pays it. Are you freaking kidding me? Get your ass in a car and get that freaking guy pulled over. I mean, that's just disgusting. This whole revenue scenario is unbelievable, man. Wow, we no, we're just trying to. Not only that, but now I'm going to go further. People in Europe, you look at police cars in Europe, you can see them 5 miles away. Why, if you need help, you can successfully flag them down now, can't you? No, but here in the U.S., you got to travel in stealth. Why do you travel in stealth?
No. That's illegal. That's entrapment.
To create revenue.
That is entrapment.
The problem is that the system is flawed. First of all, imagine you see these cameras and they're on the lights, and okay, you make a close call and somebody goes through questionable yellow light. The lights are normally supposed to change about every 3 seconds. However, if they're not maintained, it's like a radar unit, okay? Those things have to be, and I don't care what kind of unit it is. The old ones used to have to be monitored and updated with the tuning fork, and today now I'm sure it's digital and computerized and everything. But if those lights are not maintained and somebody doesn't come out there and do the maintenance on it, I can tell you that they're going to get out of whack. Because it just happens. You got to figure with power outages, with everything else, and they're set to reset. Well, those things aren't accurate. So you go through this yellow light. It wasn't a full 3 seconds. And who's going to defend you in court on that? You're forced to get a lawyer. You're forced to sit here and do something because a judge isn't going to listen to that unless you sit there and challenge the light. And who are you challenging? You're not challenging a highway patrolman. You're challenging a machine. And then
the other thing, if the cop doesn't show up, that's in your advantage. Carry on.
Yeah, but there is no cop. A lot of times these cameras are on the lights and that's it. And they mail you the ticket. So, I have a problem with that. And I have a problem with police officers taking the pictures because what if somebody does? They go on out and they murder somebody, later on in the day where they could have actually been pulled over.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, it's unarguable.
Yeah, and have we not heard this before? Has this not happened before? Have we become that lackadaisical, even as a police force, that we're not doing what we're supposed to do for the betterment of all of our...
lackadaisical, Michael. It's freaking revenue, man.
Well, that's what it's come down to. It's come down to it's a money-making machine rather than to protect and to serve. And, once you reach that point, then you're no longer protecting and serving. You're raking in money. You're now a business.
Right.
To me, it's a travesty of justice is what it is. And what do you tell the family who gets killed by some nutball that could have been pulled over for, a simple not using a directional or something like that? I mean, what do you tell them? I'm sorry, your child got murdered, but, hey, we got this nice picture of this guy that we cannot send a ticket to because he's in a stolen car or something else, right?
He is sporting quite the smile as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that not only are they not going to get their revenue, but they're going to look like bumbleheads because basically a criminal got away.
Yeah, right. That's the reason why I brought that whole point up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's game over.
Yeah.
It's one thing with well, he calls it the way he sees it. No, I call it the way it is. In regards to that, no, that's it. That's game over. That's why. And actually, the city that I have to go through on the way to work, they're illegal. They're going to make them illegal. They're throwing them out. It's like out of here. I mean, Michael, you remember back in the day underneath out Lindale, underneath Hollywood Bridge.
That was the number one ticket area. They didn't even have an on or off ramp.
No, into their city. That was how they created revenue. They parked 2 cops on each side.
Yep.
Northbound, southbound. Oh yeah.
I got a ticket there the night my father died. I told you I had come back from college and I was going down Saturday night to go see my dad, and he was at the Cleveland Clinic, and I was driving downtown. I went through Lindale, and I couldn't have been doing 5 miles an hour over, maybe. Okay. I definitely was speeding because it's like 60 miles an hour or 55 miles an hour there, and I'm sure I was doing 60, 65. So I even explained it to him. That SOB didn't give 2 craps. He still wrote me the ticket, and I was still polite, and I kept thinking to myself, you heartless son of a bitch. It's like, and of course my dad died that night. And of course they didn't give me the points. They just wanted the money. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How egregious, man. How egregious.
Yeah. I think that was Coyne's neighborhood too. Didn't Coyne was running the show over there, I think. Yeah.
Well, they had gotten, I want to say there was a lawsuit or something, and that they were, oh God.
Yeah, one of the guys said, I don't think so. And that's how that went. They have no on-ramps or off-ramps leading into that city, and it's like a postage stamp of the city.
Yeah.
The only way they create a revenue, and they have no industry, is through that. They created all the revenue through that.
Oh yeah, I think there was a lawsuit that had to do with that. It wasn't profiling. It was had something to do with quotas, that people were proving that they were trying to make quotas and do stuff like that. It was something weird, but they calmed down afterward, and there were signs put up that said, a trap area or whatever. There's actually one in West Virginia. If you're going down 77 and you go through Charleston, there's one area right there that there's a sign that's clearly posted. Okay, basically it tells you this is a trap area, man. This is where they're going to bust you, and if you don't slow down when you see the sign, well, okay, well, you're a little low on IQ points. If there's a sign there that says it, there's a reason there's a sign there that says it. You know what I'm saying? So, but
there's your sign.
Yeah, there's your sign. Exactly. But that kind of stuff has to stop. To me, now we're not doing anything that's definitely pointing to people doing illegal stuff. It's more or less you're going against the police officer that could pull you over for anything and say you're speeding. Back then, if you had enough smarts and you say, hey, I want to see the radar, and they didn't have it on, or he said I cleared it, okay, write that down. Okay, so when we get to court, I can tell the judge that you cleared it and did not show it to me or refused to show it to me, and you had a better chance of getting out of it. And then, another way that I found is that, and I'm not condoning or telling you if you're a habitual speeder, hey, listen, you're on your own. But I asked an officer one time, did you, and this was years ago, but it was up in D.C., and I said, did you do the tuning on, your unit? And of course he said yes. So my next question to him was, did the manufacturer train you on how to do this? And he said, well, I was trained by another. No, I'm asking you if the manufacturer, the person who made the unit, trained you on tuning it, on making sure that it was up to snuff, not going down the line. I want to know, did they? And of course he answered no. Dismissed. So, that was one of my lucky ones. And of course, the people behind me were all asking the same question, So, but, you got to have.
And then there's my way.
Yeah,
my way is a whole lot different.
Yeah.
So normally a judge like that will shut you down if he smells where you're going and get you out of there, so that the rest of the people can't follow online.
Well, actually, when you're in the courtroom, he has no choice. He has to listen to it. Okay, and it was a valid thing. And there were too many people in there. What was he going to say? I think I took this guy completely by surprise.
Look, all he had to do is slam down the gavel, case dismissed, and then hope to God that nobody else picked up on that crap or had enough balls to bring it up in court. All right.
Or how many people are actually going in because of the speeding, the radar speeding.
Yeah. It just happened. I had enough savvy to think of something like that, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, whether that would work today or not, well, time will tell.
The last letter I got from the court, you failed to appear for your court date. I call them up. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
I missed my court date, huh? Really? I swear I gave you notice. I even took a picture of it. I gave you a notice and I dropped it off with the clerk. And I refused to contract.
Because that's what you're doing. You're accepting. That's a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said I refused to contract, and I refused it for cause. And I said, you expect me to register, within a certain amount of days of residency, and I'm homeless. I'm not a resident anywhere, so I don't know where you come off with this stuff. People are really out there. She's like, well, there's a warrant out for your arrest. And I said, great, maybe they'll catch me around town. She says, we suspended your license. And I said, what license? I gave that back. I don't have a license. Thanks. Anyway, have a nice day. And I hung up the phone. And I didn't get anything for motor vehicle. Of course, I took my license back. I gave that back to them a long time ago. And I haven't heard a peep from anyone since. And believe me, if they wanted to find me, they'd find me. Because I've been visited already.
Yeah.
They know who I am and where I am. And, so...
Well, that's the problem. See, they're so used to people going along with the system. And people are used to getting in the waiting line. It's just like when we were little kids, Michael, and we had to go to Westlake Mall, stand in line for our King Kong shots, and you had 500 freaking kids in line at Westgate Mall to get your shot. I don't know if you were one of them there because you're a few months younger than me, but we're like, oh, here we go. You're in a waiting line. It's like, I guess we got to do this because this is the way it is. Well, when you're a kid, you got no choice in the matter. But adults go through the same crap, man. Oh, this is the way the system works. So, geez, if you don't do this, you're gonna get thrown in freaking jail. Fall back.
Yeah. I have to make a trip to motor vehicle with the title for the bike, and ask them what they're gonna do because I'm not gonna buy a title.
I don't know. We'll discuss that later. Right?
you're kind of in one of those things to where it's like, okay, you have so many different things going on with that bike. You know.
What do you mean I have to buy it?
We'll kind of leave that stuff off the show for the moment as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I'm always getting into something, huh?
Yeah, that's Pandora's box right there.
Well, you should have seen me opening my checking account. That was fun.
Well, when you.
Well, I'll tell you what. We got, here's another thing that I wanted to bring up, because we do shift gears here a lot. So we've got our little holistic thing that we kind of covered and everything, and of course Papa's bike and the tickets. Here's a good one. Okay, we had a student down here that actually he passed away. He had too much caffeine. The coroner's report said he had too much caffeine in his system. It should have went on the news, and as a matter of fact, my wife had went ahead and sent me, and I'm going to pull it up right now, the information about this. But he had some Red Bulls. He had a latte. He had there was something else that he had in there.
Michael, what did he die from?
Too much caffeine.
No, what unfolded? What was the failure?
Oh, his heart. His heart gave.
Okay, well, see, 2-1, his heart can't handle that because me being the older guy I am and the stuff I put in my body. He had a rough, we'll carry on, but he had a rough heart. He had an issue to begin with that he probably wasn't aware of. Go ahead.
Could he have had an underlying condition? I don't know. This kid, basically, it was an excessive, and I'll read it to you as I go. So, because I have the news report on it. So, and this was a good kid. Okay, this was the Richland County coroner, Gary Watts. An excessive amount of caffeine ultimately led to the death of a Midlands high school student. Watts updated the public Monday afternoon on the death of Davis Allen Kripe. I hope I said his name correctly. He was 16 years old. He collapsed at Spring Hill High School back on April 26th and later died at the hospital. He had consumed multiple caffeinated drinks that day, including a large diet Mountain Dew, which I'm going to tell everybody, I have a real problem with Mountain Dew, okay? I don't like it. I think it's poison. Just put it down and walk away from it. A cafe latte, and also some kind of energy drink. Now, that tells me Red Bull or another drink, okay?
Monster.
And it all led to a cardiac event that killed Kripe. And here's the thing. He's 16 years old, okay? And, of course, the answer, that Watts had said is, we lost Davis from a totally legal substance, Watts said. Kripe, this young man was completely against drugs, okay? He didn't do any of that. He was taking something he thought was totally harmless, but Watts said the drinks can be very dangerous, and he urges people not to consume them. They're going to do further tests to make sure he didn't have an underlying condition. But here's the rub, okay? And it comes down to is at what age is appropriate, because your body's still developing. A lot of these kids are athletes and everything. This was a good kid, okay? Everybody has already said this is a really good kid. He was drug-free. He was a good student, okay? No need to have this loss of life. But, when you get these lattes and you get this stuff, and of course they're selling these things, and now we're putting drugs in all, drinks. Even when I drink coffee, I water it down a lot of the time. I don't need all that caffeine. And
you do it.
It's just one of those things to where.
Well, Michael, what do you recommend then? Is my question.
In all honesty, I quit drinking sodas a while ago. I don't drink them. I think they're poison. They'll make you fat. And they're probably the number one thing that really make you fat. You want to get fat, eat bread, drink sodas, stuff like that. I mean, it's going to do it to you. I would say water. I drink a ton of water. I do drink my coffee. When I do the show, I drink coffee, but it's a very watered down. So, like, my wife will make a pot, and I'll just run water right back through that same pot again. So I'm getting, half of it maybe, but it's more water than it is anything else. And, I like mine with creamer, so I put the creamer in there, and that's really about it. But water is probably, your body needs so much water. And water's good for you. Let's face it. It is. Stay away from the milks. Stay away from the caffeines. And for God's sakes, don't drink those damn energy drinks, okay? Listen, man, they make your heart race. They'll kill you, okay? They'll kill you. What else do you need to know?
I'll tell you what, man. The one time I had stopped, excuse me, I stopped at Speedway, and we were pulling a press out of one of the plants. We had to disassemble it, and I grabbed that. You have so many choices. Whatever happened to days where, look, just give me a cup of frickin' coffee. Now you got this coffee, hazelnut, and frickin' and these nuts coffee, and all kinds of crap going on here, man. So, anyways, I get this. It's like super breakfast coffee scenario. So I load up a 32-ounce cup of this frickin' stuff, man. Head off to work, man. I'm knocking that down like there's no tomorrow. Get to work. Okay, I'm doing good. About an hour went by, dude, man. I broke out in a frickin' sweat, man. I thought my heart was jumping out of my chest. And this was I was 42 at the time, 43. Yeah, this was 2007. I was 42.
Yeah,
and I thought, man, I looked over at the boss, man. I says, dude, I don't know if I'm having a heart attack or I just drank the wrong coffee, man. I feel like I'm dying. So, oh my God, I'm breaking out in a frickin' sweat and the whole spiel, And but no, I grabbed some water and it all simmered down. I didn't, fly off the end of the frickin' bridge in regards to the situation. I just kept it at bay to the best of my ability, and it just went away. But man, wow, it was like, good heavens! I've done a lot worse than that, dude. Man, I'll tell you what. I remember sitting there in front of my computer a few years ago. I'd have a Steel Reserve in one hand, a Monster in the other hand, and I'd do Monster after a 72-hour work week, and it was my day off, man. And I'd do beer Monster, beer Monster, beer Monster, beer Monster, and good to go, man. That was only a couple of years ago.
Well, I mean, you might as well just take speed.
I guarantee. I hear what you're saying, but I guarantee that the kid might have had he had a bump scenario in regards to his heart.
Maybe, maybe not. Now I don't know how. You can't. You don't know for sure. Listen, that stuff is powerful. Here's a prime example.
Tell me that crap.
No. Listen. Here's a prime example. Jeff Goldblum tonight did a show on Explore, okay, and he was talking about the poppy fields and everything, all the way from Australia to Afghanistan, different things. And just to give
North Korea?
Yeah, huh? What's that, Papa?
North Korea? North Korea?
Just, yes, everywhere, okay? Wow. And they were talking about how one poppy, the one poppy seed, or whatever, you can get about anywhere from 5 to 7 pills out of that. From those pills, they turn around and they make Oxycontin, oxycodone, fentanyl, different things. Okay. Now, here's one of the biggest things. In the United States today, there is, without question, fact, 200,000 deaths. Okay, alone to basically what he said. It's just another form of heroin. Okay, and
that's right.
So when you have this, and of course they were displaying how people that were towards their end of life, or finally at their end of care, that, in so much pain that this helps them out. And I'm looking at it on the other end of the spectrum at Huntington, West Virginia, okay, which is the number one place in the United States for overdoses of heroin. And of course, Narcan is just like stacked in the ambulances, okay? And out there, the interim, the fire chief, I believe Jan Hayden or Harden or whatever, I apologize if I didn't get her name right. She basically made the statement, we're seeing this so much every day, 2 to 3 a day. Okay, why this one area, I don't know. I'm sure that, poor or whatever. Did you realize the dose the doctor gives you? You go to the doctor, you get a prescription, right? You're dealing with your pain. Within 1 week, your body has already become addicted to this medication.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, what? You're talking about Narcan.
Right. Not Narcan. Narcan is the cure for it.
No, the pain pills.
The pain pills, okay? The Oxycontin, the oxycodone, the fentanyl. Within 1 week, your body has already become addicted to this and needing it and wanting it. Okay, so then you want to up the dose and everything. It's not just the heroin that these people are shooting. Okay, this goes a little bit beyond it. And of course, now you have it where it's being mixed. It's called Gray Death. That's out there, okay, where it's got fentanyl, it's got the Oxycontin and something else mixed with it. Oh, and
here's something else to consider. The people that want to get off that stuff, they go into methadone clinics. They're doing the methadone. And the thing is, with the methadone clinics, they're maintaining a certain amount and they're not weaning them off it. They keep them on it, and it keeps going and going and going. You have to be determined yourself to wean yourself off it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I spoke to an individual that was on due to a situation, but this person told me it had taken him 4 weeks pretty much to detox. Because, the first thing is, once you get off of that crap, is that you can't crap. You have bowel movement issue problems. That's one of the effects, major effect, what I understand. 4 weeks. 4 weeks for a detox. Yeah.
Well, my mother, when my mother had developed an infection, and of course they had given her all this crap, and we had dealt with this with her before, that she was taking these Oxycontin, and of course she got a little bit mean. That just happened to be one of the side effects for her. For me, I'm lucky. I am highly allergic to all these medicines, so I don't take narcotics. Mine's Motrin. That's it. But for her, it took us probably 4 weeks. And
4 weeks.
Yeah, and it was one of those things to where it actually got my brothers and I into an argument because her idea of how things were going versus my idea of, her behavior at this time. Well, she didn't know it. She didn't know she was having this reaction to it. And of course, she'd gotten kind of addicted, so she was looking for it. And Judy and I had to take it away from her. And, we were substituting. We had no choice. We had to, we were substituting, and we were giving her the Motrin instead and telling her that's what it was. And of course, she wasn't having any relief. And then finally, it had worn off. And we got her back, and I went straight down to the doctor's office, where she was being taken care of, and I said, don't ever give her this stuff again. I said, never again. Yeah. I said, she's 81 years old at that time, and I said, there's, I want to be consulted on this. I care for her. She's in my care, and, this is how it's going to be. And, of course, she was there, and, we saw the doctor together, and it was just one of those things to where no way, she doesn't need that stuff. It's dangerous, it's deadly. I think they get people hooked so that they go back to the doctors, and you're not even seeing a doctor half the time. You're seeing a PA, a physician's assistant. You're lucky if you even get in to see a doctor. And of course they're like, well,
they want to push that, man. How many times last time I was, hey, do you mind if we have a an assistant come. I don't care. The kid or the gal or whatever has got to learn. I don't care. Yeah, come on in.
Hey,
Come on in.
some of us are fortunate, like myself, I'm immune to the effects of cocaine.
Well, first of all, if I'm going to a doctor's office, and I don't mind seeing a physician's assistant for something that's minor, but mom had fallen, okay, and at 83, I'm worried about her breaking her hip, and I did have to take her by ambulance.
Well, here's the thing: the assistant has to be patrolled by the physician. If they're tagged, they got to be tag teamed. Otherwise, no.
Well, the physician's assistant is just that, okay? But at some point, I want to hear from the doctor. I hey, it's great that, I'm going through you and we're doing this, but with the conditions and everything that she has, with her heart and everything else, no, I want to hear from him because he's the one I'm going to hold liable if things go bad,
Well, yeah.
And I'm going to, he could throw you under the bus. I'm going after him.
Yeah.
Well, it's an apprentice. You can't throw an apprentice under the bus. You got to look at the journeyman.
Well, I just think that these guys make the money because if you hire 5 or 6, PAs, okay, they can see all these patients. And then how do I know what the doctor's looking at or what he's not? Has he called me back?
That's a King Kong delegation, for God's sakes. I call that cheap labor, actually, in the skilled trade field, where all of a sudden, we'll put 4 or 5 apprentices on this job and let one guy run the show. All right? So this knowledgeable guy is a foreman, and it has 4 or 5 apprentices, which is insane because when I was in the skilled trades in the field, you had 1 foreman, 1 apprentice per 5 guys. All right, so if you can picture that. And I'm not really going off on a tangent here. Just giving you an idea in regards to delegation. All right, because that apprentice, you got to watch his ass. All right, make sure he doesn't get hurt. Number one, safety first. All right, and then teach the kid. But I mean, come on. All right, so now this assistant is running the no, that's not the way it works. You're dealing with lives, not machinery, for God's sakes. We treat machinery better than that.
Well, it's the whole way that the whole thing's running, okay? 2 years ago, if you asked me if I thought marijuana was any type of medicinal medicine, I would have probably said no, and that's it. End of subject. However,
that was I recall that.
Right. Yeah. However, having PTSD, having the different things that I have, and no, I don't do it. So I'm just going to be straight up there with everyone, so I can say this objectively, because I don't do it. I did it as a little kid, but you grow up, and that's how I looked at it, and I just don't need it. It took me 28 years to get off medication. So anyway, my point is that I've seen the positive and the negative, both sides of it. It has helped veterans. It has. It has helped cancer patients. It has helped seizure patients. It has helped a lot. And of course, because it was impossible to combat on all levels, I think now we're seeing a government control trying to, take it to the next step and say, okay, it does. Obviously, it does help different things, and they want to do that.
Research.
Right. And, and there's still a lot of research to do. But, I look at the kids today and, my own experiences.
Different things happen to the younger generation than the older.
Yeah. Now they're all convinced, okay, I have ADD or ADHD, and I don't want to take the Adderall. I don't want to take the other stuff, which I can tell you is not great for them. But
that's right.
There are other ways to combat it. Diet, sleep, everything else. They don't want to try that. Their answer is, it's earth, man. Now they call it earth. Okay, either blunts, earths.
When I was a kid, that was normal for some kids. So
I get that. But the negativity that I'm seeing. From my perspective, because we've seen both sides. Let's face it, we've seen both sides. I've seen the positives and the negatives. The negative is this is what they do all day long. So they're constantly high. They have no motivation. They dropped out of school. They call in sick to their job. Okay. There's nothing that, there's just, they can't seem to get it around, but they're calmer. Okay. Well, that's great, but you still have to function in a world of today. We're not going to be around forever, so we can't carry you forever. So at some point, you have to find.
Really? Man, I'm bumming.
Yeah, but you have to find that. You have to have that fine line.
He's kicking in.
This is what gets me about school. Okay, you blame the child who wants to drop out of school because they say, "Look, I'm bored in school," right? And I'm going to give you an example. My experience with school. I quit after my junior year to join the Navy. Okay, didn't last long in the Navy, but I got out and I went back to my senior year. Okay, I was only 4 months into my senior year, and I said, "Screw this! I'm going to go get my diploma early and go to trade school." And by March, instead of waiting until June, by March, I had my GED. And by June, I was already enrolled in and going to trade school.
But that's called motivation. Okay? See, there's a difference there. They don't even have
but it's not like I didn't learn the stuff and didn't know it. I mean, I scored pretty well.
Well, listen, my son scored real well. He's got his final test, and he will have his GED. So that's great. Okay, I'm not telling you, listen, with this Common Core crap and everything else that they've done and all the different rules that they've tried to put in there, and they have no power whatsoever, and they decide which kids they want to take care of, which ones they don't. Listen, you're singing to the choir when you talk about the school because, frankly, I think they've let the children down. And they can blame the parents all that they want. Bull crap. You know what? You weren't trained. You didn't know how to deal with these kids to begin with, and that's why you let them fall through the cracks, because they were a headache for you, and you didn't know, you couldn't understand them. So there you go. We'll get rid of that one and deal with the ones that we think we can save. What a nice choice, because if you're in the Navy, you're always taught, man, you stick with your brother, you save your brother. It doesn't matter whose hand is reaching in there as long as someone's saving you. You don't pick and choose. You save everybody. Okay? The school system doesn't have that same philosophy. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's federal money. So they don't give a crap.
Your kid's a number. That philosophy applies.
Yeah.
That philosophy applies if you're not an outcast.
Exactly. And hey, here's another thing. Why don't we punish the students that aren't doing well in class and take away their sports activities so that they can drop out and not feel like an outcast and hang around a bad element? Hey, there's an idea. I mean,
we gotta be careful of that participation award.
No, you have to have their indoctrination certificate before you can play ball.
Yeah, the whole it's set up. The things that they do and they try to set up. Well, your son's not coming. Well, if you suspend him and you send him home, who's not doing whose job?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to punish me by sending him home, and yet you're the one who's supposed to be educating him.
We're going to suspend you for a week. You suspend him for a week, he goes back. Okay, now you have to catch up. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, the problem here is there's far too much delegation going on, all right? Actually, the only better job I can imagine outside of being a teacher is being a meteorologist. How are you held accountable? Where does accountability fall into effect for a meteorologist? Well, okay, so I think I made a minute mistake. Fired? No, I don't think so. You have a job forever.
Yeah,
Nick Goddard started 1961 here in Cleveland, Ohio. And, he's retired now, and he pops in once in a while. God love him. Great guy. You have Don Webster, and Michael knows all these guys.
Yep.
And Donnie's looking old. I'm telling you what, Michael, we're getting old. Look at Don Webster, and he starts looking old. It's like, oh, man, I can see Nick Goddard, Don Webster stuff. But, And what it comes down to, and we've noticed that throughout the years. I mean, our youngest child is Jamie. She's 17. You know, the rest of the kids are grown. You know, but I've noticed throughout the years they delegate so much more on the parents. It's unbelievable, man. And what's interesting, as well, is that, you know, latchkey kids. Well, you had them when Mike and I back in the I'm not going to even say early '80s. No, Michael, I have to go back to the '70s.
Yeah,
the late
'70s.
Yeah, right. We have to, you know. And there were a few kids, latchkey kids, and who had divorced parents, and divorce was the ugliest word in the '70s you can imagine, especially if you go mid '70s.
Yeah, it was taboo.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm telling you what, man. We knew all the divorced people on our street. We knew everybody on the street, half the street next on both sides. And if there was a divorced couple, you didn't even walk on the sidewalk in front of their house. And people say, "What are you, goofy?" I says, "No, we didn't." It's like, "Oh man, that's not good." So we walked down the street and got back on the sidewalk. Believe it or not, I'm telling you for a fact.
Yeah.
You know, that's how bad it was. That's how taboo it was, a divorce. You know, and but anyways. Moving along, I mean, you know, the kids that suffered under that, they turned out fine then.
Well, but it was you're talking a whole different. Let's face it, our parents weren't afraid to beat us if we did something wrong. Okay, and 9 out of 10 times we deserved it.
Or your neighbor.
Right. Today, these kids are born with a number that they can call saying, "I'm being abused." And everything else, you know, and it is their fault a little bit to the extent too, because they're entitled. We've given them access to this. Well, he'll need a cell phone, this and that. He'll need a car, you know. And it's like, no, you know, mom and dad have to learn to say that word, no, and it's real simple. But at the same time, say it to the school system too. No, it's real easy. You could hear it. No.
I asked my father. I said, "Did you give me a car?" And he says, "You want a car?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You can have one." Really? Yep. You get a job, you earn the money, you buy a car, you'll have one.
Yep.
That's how it was. You had to be motivated and go on out and get what you wanted, but you had to work for it.
Yep.
And you understood that. Today,
right.
You don't do that. I can't tell you how many times when I was going to and from the school, if one girl wore Uggs, $250 boots, okay? Everybody started wearing them. Now we got these stretchy pants where a lot of people shouldn't be wearing them, but they are, okay? And it's a fade, so everybody's got to have them. You know, okay, if you keep giving your kids everything that they want.
Oh, yeah. They expect
let me ask you, what are you teaching them? Are you enabling them is the question you have to ask yourself? Or are you doing them justice?
You're not teaching them the value of anything.
Yeah.
You know, the value of hard work.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's we're getting towards that time to take a break here, believe it or not. The first hour went by like whoo. So but we got lots to talk about. And on that note, Papa, why don't you get us ready to go on out of here?
Well, all right. You listen to Show Us, Don't Tell Us on the LNM Radio Network. We'll be right back.
spring bologna.
There you go.
Oh, and shit house.
Good. I'm tired.
Oh, you sissy.
Open Eyes Network now airs a live simulcast on YouTube. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/Open Eyes Network, features not just our live content, but other videos as well, and is always active. So now you can tune in many different ways. Open Eyes Network shows air Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live. Be sure to visit openeyesnetwork.com to find easy-to-use links to get to all of the places that you want to listen to our shows. And don't forget, all of our shows will now be archived as well on YouTube.
There is a better radio show, beyond that which is known to the people. It is a radio show more informative than others, and as timeless as infinity. It is the equilibrium between light and dark, between the sheeple and the paranormal, and it is heard at the base of man's ignorance and at the summit of his knowledge. This is the radio show of imagination, a show we call The Secret Teachings.
Open Eyes is dedicated to finding the truth in all matters. We are not afraid to be politically incorrect or to ask questions.
Seems to be all right.
Whether it is the paranormal, government cover-ups, the dark agenda that the puppet masters have in store for us, or aliens and UFOs, nothing remains hidden. Right? Listen to Open Eyes, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on LateNightInTheMidlands.com or OpenEyesNetwork.com. Open hearts, open minds, open eyes. Ben Franklin said, "If you do the same thing tomorrow as you did today, you're going to get the same tomorrow as you got today." Changing the world starts with you, and changing you starts with changing the way you think. Late Night in the Midlands can help. Listen to all of our shows at LateNightInTheMidlands.com, because things really do need to change.
Hear me?
Yeah, I got you now. Broke up. No, he must be cutting you out. I can't hear you.
Okay, welcome back to Show Us, Don't Tell Us. Papa, you there?
I certainly am.
All right. And Skillzzz, I know you're there.
Absolutely, I tell you.
All right, so where were we here?
We were all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah, we were.
Yep. So
Got a cat sleeping on my arm.
Awesome.
All right.
I have a kitten sleeping on my arm. He thinks I'm his mother.
You know what's really cool, Michael? Speaking about Mother's Day, is that what's really nice is that your mom is still around. Out of the three of us, you're still mom. You know, that's awesome.
I have been very blessed because for the past, we have always been very, very close. After Tom died, we have always been very, very close. So in one aspect or another, we've lived very close to her, and I've got to see her every weekend, or she's just a big part of my life. I'm a mama's boy, and I know that. But and of course she's helped us, and now it's my turn to help her. So for the last number of years, we've been together and taking care of each other. So not saying we haven't had our rough patches, but she has been able to see firsthand both of my children grow up. Judy's kids grow up. Watched how I've developed, hopefully in a positive way. I can't, I'm speculating, but so lucky. You there, Papa? There we go. Are you all there? I'm not sure what happened there.
Yep.
Wasn't sure what happened there for a second. No,
That's
very
right.
very blessed though. So no complaints whatsoever. Hey, here's another subject. Go ahead.
Well, I took care of my mom her last 20 years, and I didn't pull together a family. I just held it, And this morning, I picked up the headstone because we lost Mom like 2.5 years ago, and I picked up the headstone this morning for my mother and my father.
Wow.
To take up there to plant. Yeah, put them both together. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I think that it's looking at it, I can't tell you that I would have made it through a lot of the things that I've went through without her. It's just been one of those things, and and of course I'm very close with my brothers too. So but Mom I see every day, and and it's nice to wake up, and I know that she's not going to be there forever. So when she gets sick, I get nervous. It does.
Yeah.
It fills me with,
and I think 90 is a good age to get to. But she made it to 87, and she did well. She was getting healthier as she went, though, because we cured her diabetes.
Yeah, and Mom does real well. She has a little bit of trouble getting around, but she's still fully functional, still drives. I want to keep her up. I want to keep her moving. It's important. I don't like to see her in pain.
Yeah. No, it's best.
Yeah, and I don't like to see her in pain, and she's helped us out, and she's just a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
Well, shifting gears again, I'll tell you what. Artificial intelligence. Was watching a show.
That's me.
Yeah, well, I was watching a show, and there's a big difference between automated intelligence and artificial intelligence. And, the pros and cons. Is it going to be man's undoing? We're looking at the workforce now and how everything's becoming automated. Jobs are disappearing. What it used to take a bunch of, people to do, now you have a machine that can go on in there and do it 10 times faster and more accurate to some degree.
Okay. I have a theory. And my theory is basically that capitalism is what built this country. But capitalism doesn't work if there's no control or a certain volunteer servitude, if you will, or basically a kind of a stealth slavery, if you will, because they make it so you've got to pay for everything to live. Now you have to have a job, and to have a job, now you're going to produce. And if we weren't producing, according to this capitalist system, then a lot of this technology we'd never have. We wouldn't have communication that goes worldwide. You know, assembly lines, this, that, and the other. We wouldn't have that stuff. We wouldn't be building big things. Thing is that the people that want to, they have this Agenda 31, I guess it is now, the New World Order deal. The idea is to automate everything, so all they got to do is just push a few buttons and everything goes. But they forgot about the guys. They need to, repair this stuff, if it goes down. They're still in a quandary. It's not totally automated yet. They're still in a quandary, but they're closer. And the thing is, if you cut out the capitalist, you cut out all that stuff, all the control mechanisms, then now you go back to, now where's it going to come from? Although all the tooling is there, who's going to operate it?
Yeah.
And that's where it's back down to volunteer again.
Well, the thing is when does it go too far? I mean, right now we're looking at trying to make it as humanoid as possible. Now we're talking from automation to artificial intelligence. We're transferring over.
Quantum.
Okay.
Quantum computers.
All right. So when does it go too far? Let's say today, if you...
It's already gone too far.
Okay. If you... Well, that's true. And Skillzzz, I'm sure you probably say the same thing, too, because you've probably seen, to some degree, the mills get decimated by this going on. Am I correct?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just double check it. Oh, good heavens. I've seen in my plants closed that I've currently worked at throughout the years, and it's, oh man, I watched the one plant I worked at, and there were like 3 union shops. There were like 6 plants. 3 union shops, and they started by closing every single one of the union shops. Bang, bang, bang. See.
Yep. Yep.
And I don't know how to put it. There's pros and cons, I guess, to working at union shops. The problem is there's just any time you give or delegate your finances out to anybody else,
right?
You got problems. I don't give it. See, even these 401ks, man, pensions, it doesn't matter. Somebody else is governing, and they're watching over them, all right? They're watching over how they can justify how they steal it. Oh, man, especially after the October crash of 2008. Well, guys, all of a sudden your stuff evaporated. One of the guys I worked with back in the day, he says, well, what are you so worried about? You never had it to begin with. And these are guys that lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on that crash. Where'd it go? Well, was it there? It just evaporated? Oh, come on. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, and there is an Easter bunny. I seen him the other day laying eggs. Get the frick out of here.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. When I say when does it go too far? Let's say tomorrow we're in a world where these artificial intelligence, they're smarter. They're going to be smarter than us. They'll have access to everything in the world, all the information, everything else. They're going to look exactly like us. Okay, so it'll be very hard to differentiate between humans and that. When does it go too far? And for me, there's how are you going to teach it soul? How are you going to teach it and make sure that
that's what they're hoping it's going to learn? And you talk about too far. They're already cloning animals. That they've cloned people. Birth and
yes,
they basically raise these people in incubators and labs. And it's like, do these people that they're raising in incubators and labs from clones, do they actually have souls or some sort of thought mechanism?
Well, souls to me is...
Or not.
I could walk into the house at any time and look at my wife and have a feeling so deep in love I'll go on up and just, plant a kiss on her and say, I love you. Okay. How are you going to teach that? How are you going to teach, empathy, sympathy?
You can't
hope,
teach
charity,
that.
love.
You can't teach that.
That's right. It's almost impossible. So, them becoming self-aware.
Yeah, I mean,
is it a possibility? Can they ever really become self-aware? Being that, how is man ever going to mimic that? Because that comes from God. Those things, those gifts come from God. I mean, I could see it going quite wrong.
All right. Well, maybe that's how we got to where we are. There was a creator being, right? And it was like our, so it wasn't alone. Whoever did it wasn't alone. Let's create man in our image, in our likeness, okay? I mean, so whoever it wasn't alone. So who knows? It could be the same process. It's just taking us a while to get there. Or maybe there's some assistance going on from some sort of terrestrial life. I don't know.
Yeah, and then will it be something that is incorporated? Because, I mean, for me, I couldn't imagine living, forever. Everybody has to have an end game, or life no longer becomes something that matters. Okay? Yeah. That's why we're here for the short period of time that we want. Yes, we love what we have here and everything else, and you fall in love, I guess, or you have a way of wanting worldly things. However,
this is our apprenticeship,
What if they told you tomorrow?
This is where we learn to deal with other beings. This is Earth Academy.
Okay.
If you make it through here, you might make it to the next level.
All right. What if they told you tomorrow there is no other level? This is where you're going to stay forever. How would you feel about that? It takes the meaning out of it, because you constantly want more. That's soul. You constantly want. You like the idea. We like the idea of knowing that there is something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Spiritually, whatever.
Okay.
We like that feeling. Okay. That's.
But if you're told you're going to be here on this earth forever, there's still something else. There's plenty of time. There's more things you can do. There's a lot more you can do.
There's always.
It's not. You're not working toward an end goal. And what is the end goal? You can't take it with you. What do you want to be? Famous? For what?
Speaking of that, I had a laugh.
It's going to matter when you're gone.
I had a laugh. I did see a hearse with a U-Haul trailer behind it. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Who says you can't take it with you? Oh, yeah, watch this.
Oh, yeah.
Like the old saying goes, I remember working with one of the guys that my father worked with years ago, and he always told me, he says, coffins don't have saddlebags. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Hey, it's like the woman whose crazy husbands, they had $5 million. He said, all my money put in the casket. I want it buried with me. And she agreed.
Yeah, but
hey, did you give him all? Yep, I gave him the whole $5 million. You put the cash in the casket? No, I'm not that stupid. I gave him a check. I figured he could cash it when he gets there.
No, you look at it and you wonder about we're making these AIs now to go and fight wars. Okay? That to me, so now if you do that, imagine the outcome that it will have not only on the pharmaceutical companies, because like you both said before, a healthy person is not good for business. Okay?
Right.
So now you have a machine and you've given it all this artificial intelligence. Does it not matter as much as a human being at that point? Because it doesn't have a soul? But what if it's self-aware? Where do we draw the line as human beings? What makes us, superior to them, if they're actually smarter than us and they're capable of becoming self-aware and want to do things for good? And we throw them out into a war because we feel, hey. I mean, where do we have the right to do that either? I mean, it brings up a lot of questions and a lot of moral ethics.
The first question is, where do we get off being any kind of authority on anything?
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Right. So we're and is it something we should even touch? Is it something that we should even venture into, knowing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, are we playing God? Or is this something that's going to be the betterment of mankind?
I don't, like nothing is good, nothing is bad. It just is, and what you experience or what you perceive to maybe experience, given either the upside or the downside, it's all hypothetical. I don't know. So.
But it's gonna happen, and that's the thing. See, it's happening
based
now.
On that,
so it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, based on that, we're not going to stop it, like it or not. It's going to get done. The thing is, are we going to be able to decipher one from the other?
Well, I would think that you could in the dark. How do you know? Boy, that feels awful cold.
Me too.
Yeah, right? Oh my God, what's that? You're an alien. Yeah, right.
I guess I look at it, and it is an important subject because it's one of those things that, as we're seeing it now today, and I'm seeing them alter and change things and, experiment and everything like that. Oh, your kid's got this problem. Hey, we'll fix that. Watch us. We'll implant a microchip here. Yeah. That'll cure that.
We'll fix it.
Okay?
We'll fix it.
Yeah. Okay.
Track your children. Get them microchipped, and you'll know exactly where they are. If they get kidnapped, you'll know how to find them. Yeah, really? How's that working on pets?
And then who would control...
I love the advantageous presentment in regards to why you should do that to your children.
Yeah, how's that working on pets? Oh, lost. My dog has been lost for a week. Help find it. He has a chip. Really? He has a chip and you can't find him. What does that tell you about your chip?
Yeah.
Right.
It's probably NFG, right?
Well, how do you know that the implant itself that they could put in to fix whatever it is at that point in time doesn't have a back door to it where somebody can use it for evil? Okay, I'll turn him into a psychopath, or do you know what I'm saying?
It's a long shot, Michael, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, listen, it's not a long shot. That's the problem. Listen, when we saw Star Trek and he was flipping up the thing, we have cell phones now, right? When we talked about phasers, we have lasers now, right? It's not a long shot. It's not a long shot. This stuff is happening. We've got satellites now that can hone in and read your credit card number. And you think it's a long shot?
Oh, man, that means
we got OnStar. They'll take...
They've been watching me?
They'll take control of your car by satellite.
That's right.
And you want a new car? Yeah. Really?
Depending on what kind of car you're driving. That's absolutely correct. And not only that, I have an issue with these so-called automated cars. I'm well aware of automation and how it works. Yeah. There's so many snafus that can happen with automation. It's unbelievable. And you're just going to lean on that? You're going to delegate your personal experience in regards to when you first got your license when you were a kid, learned how to drive a vehicle, and you're going to purchase a vehicle. Well, I'm going to lean in on this so-called new technology. What are you freaking out of your mind?
Yeah,
man, they are doing it now. They're doing it now. Yeah. Cars that brake ahead of time if you're not paying attention, and they lay on the brakes and stops you from an accident. It's happening now. Cars with the park assist, it's happening now. Now they've got cars that are in Japan. They say they can drive themselves. It's happening. That's why I'm telling you. All this stuff is happening, is it for the better, or is it going to ultimately lead to our downfall? Because,
hey, picture this. You jump in one of these little pods and you say, "Stadium, please." And this thing takes off, and it doesn't take you to the stadium. It takes you to the damn jail, the courthouse, or the jail. And say, "What's he doing here?" Voice recognition identifies you as so-and-so. There was a warrant for your arrest, and we're delivering you to
proper authorities. Yeah.
One thing that
which could be a play on words.
Hold on. One thing that overrides automation are the Amish, the way they go about it. Right? A young guy, okay, they jump in a buggy and then just go probably 3-4 miles down the road, right? Well, the horse always knows its way home, provided somebody doesn't come over the hill and freaking slam the buggy, So, a young couple, they're in the back seat, and going at it, doing their thing, you know what I mean? Crack the horse on the rear end. He's out of there. He's headed to the house. That's an automated pilot, man. Provided nobody slams into you, But automation, man, electronics. There's too many things that can. I know.
You know what these Amish guys do, right? When they're at the bar, they'll switch horses on the carriages.
Oh, I told you.
They take off. Yeah, they take off drunk. They'll wind up in someone else's house when they wake up.
Guys, and they go and liquored up in a buggy, and then it was off at their next door neighbor's house. Yeah. Hey, how did I? Or the old classic, they're laying on their back. How far did I fall?
Yeah, that's called close enough. That's horseplay.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I got to bail on you tonight. I'm done for.
Do you have a bailing unit or no?
No.
Well, no. Keep the kitty warm.
I'll do that. He's sleeping on my arm, and he's dead kitty. Yeah. He's all comfortable. Now I'm going to ruffle him up and put him aside so I can go to the bathroom, clean up the kitchen, and go to bed. I am whipped. I'm about ready to fall asleep in my chair.
Well, very good, man. Great having you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me in, even though it was only half the show. But thanks for having me in, guys.
All right. You have a great night. Night, Papa.
Good night. Take care.
All right, Papa. Take care, man. So, anyways, Michael, automation, man, I'm telling you what, man. You can't bank on any of that. Any of it. You're out of your mind if you do. It's not flawless.
No.
And it's not, especially if it incorporates people or you can get somebody hurt in any way, shape, or form. Actually, when I look back at it, doing the trade I'm in, being a millwright, and selling machinery for over 32 and a half years, I didn't go on roller coasters for a while because I'd be standing in line, and when you're standing in line, if you can visualize, if they're within your visual context, the drives, the take-ups, and everything, the rails, whatever you can see, especially when we went to Geauga Lake, and I'm looking at the wear plates on the roller coaster, and they're countersunk. When you install wear plates on a roller coaster, they have their countersunk holes. You install with Allen screws, they're countersunk. Well, when I look at a set of wear plates, and I was looking at these, man, waiting to get on this roller coaster, they were so far, the wear plates are so far washed down, you could take an Allen wrench to even find that Allen bolt to replace them. There's a problem. There's a problem. Yep. And I'll tell you what, man, I know what can go wrong mechanically, and I don't get on rides, man. I evaluate the whole situation. What could go wrong here? Let's see. This could fail. Okay. Now, roller coasters, as you go up the hill, you hear the click, click, click. Those are all anti-backups. That's very good, because if your drive fails, the roller coaster's not going to carry on backwards, because you're boop, 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 boop. As you go up that hill, that's going to hold that roller coaster even if your drive fails, your chain drive fails. The main drive getting you up there, because once it gets you up there, it's all gravity fed, and then you move along. And then But some of the stuff they have out here now is just, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Give me a goose egg, man.
You don't know, and there have been, of course, these coasters, they get used a lot, but you have had a lot of deaths on them. Things that maybe that it's just a fluke. If something's off just by a little bit, it's not good. Or, of course, if you get a dummy that loses a hat and decides to go underneath the roller coaster.
I recall that, yeah.
Yeah, then, that can go terribly wrong, too. But
well, the thing is we have our PMs at work. Where everybody PMs a piece of machinery. You got to go over it with a fine-tooth comb, start to finish, all right? And you look at everything. What doesn't look right? Is anything fractured? Sometimes things, here's the problem. Sometimes things are fractured, and you cannot visually see them. You can't see them,
Right.
And
yeah.
All right. So let me give you an example. I can't imagine doing a PM. Okay, you have to do this PM on a roller coaster. Yeah, how many guys do I have? And how many hours do I have to do this PM on? Because now, with a proper PM on carrying people, not machinery, whatever. People, you have to go through and double check the torquing of all the bolts. Really? And you're going to do this on one frickin' roller coaster or one piece of entertainment value, piece of machinery?
Yeah, it's not going to be efficient. No way.
No, it's not. I know this for a fact. It's not something I prepped up, or I can't imagine. I wouldn't want nothing to do with it. It's like, no, look, I don't have the talent, the people, the time to efficiently go through this in a proper fashion to put my name down and sign my name to say, okay, this is good to go. I'm going to sign off on that. Oh, no, man. I would love to see how these amusement parks, how they're set up in regards to doing their PMs on their machinery and the roller coasters and the rides, period. Yeah, I'm good.
Of course, you know that they have a. I'm sure they have a giant insurance pool that they've set aside money that if somebody does, pardon me, I was moving my microphone. Set aside money that if something does happen.
Default. Yeah, that's a nice economical default. That's all it is.
Right.
It's like, whoop, somebody got killed. Well, it's covered. Okay, next.
Yeah, and of course they're making these things twice as fast. I think Cedar Point, which, if I'm not mistaken, did Cedar Fair didn't they just sell to Disney?
I'm not sure. As a matter of fact, I thought that they purchased up the old Geauga Lake.
They did do that. They did that years ago, but I wasn't sure if Cedar Fair had finally sold to Disney, and Disney was going to change it around a little bit to open up a big park.
I'm not quite sure because Cedar Point, where it's currently located in Sandusky, Ohio, can indeed they could expand on that. Of course, they'd have to drop piling out on Lake Erie, but they can expand if need be. But however, they choose to look at the rides. What rides can we get rid of to install this new ride? Here's my problem. In my adventures lately at Cedar Point, we'll have company picnics out there, but it's overpopulated. When it takes me, the last adventure out there, 45 minutes to get on the Matterhorn? On the Matterhorn?
That's an old
Are
ride.
You freaking kidding me?
That was a fun ride, but it's an old ride.
Well, yeah. Well, problem is, there's too many people. There's too many people. You can't. And then people buy these express passes where you can jump a line in front of everybody. And it's all right. Look, what I'm trying to tell you is that they slutted it out for revenue. It's not enjoyable. All right, that's what I'm driving at.
Yeah. Well, and you're seeing a bunch of different parks, I think, open, like down in Florida, Universal Studios. They've opened up some different water parks now and everything like that. And of course, they're very creative. in the things that they're doing, but you're not going to alter the population that comes in. You're still going to have that problem. That same one that you have at Cedar Point. There's just going to be too many people. So the enjoyment of it, if you're standing in line forever in a day, well, it's not fun. Is it worth the money then at that point? Is it really worth the money at that point? Because, I don't know what Cedar Point is selling their tickets for, but, if you can only catch 5 rides during the entire day because you've spent numerous hours standing in line.
Well, where you and I grew up at, 45, well, even from here, 45 minutes to get there. It's like, okay, this kind of sucks. Okay, you go back home. However, they have a lot of people from out of state. Now, what's your selling point? Okay, wow, this is a great amusement park. Oh, yeah? Well, let me get a review as you leave the park. Yeah, too many people. I'm telling you right now, it's horrible. It would be like going to a fantastic restaurant and waiting an hour and a half before you get your meal,
Yep.
And then you can't even pay for another. Come on.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
It's the same song and dance.
Yep. Exactly. Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, you look at that, and I've looked at how much Disney has changed, how much they've changed their rides and everything else. But these roller coasters that they're building and stuff, not only are these things super tall, okay, and they're not making the normal 2 cars like they used to. Now these things are like quad cars and stuff. They'll fit like, anywhere from 4 to 8 people on one different car, and then hook up like 5 cars to them. So, if it goes bad, you've got, 20 people, 30 people that could be hurt on one single ride?
Right.
I don't know, and of course they seem to be making it more, geared towards speed and this and that. And a lot of these things, for people that do have some small health issues and everything else, or underlying conditions that they're unaware of, these things can be dangerous,
Yeah, like I mentioned, there you go, you got an IM. But anyways, like I mentioned earlier, the initial concern is the first hill, because everything gravity feeds out of that. So getting them up the first hill, and it's safe. You have your anti-backups in that. But what concerns me is, are any fractures in regards to the piping, the welds, the bolts? Because I'll tell you what, if you PM a roller coaster, I'm only see, that's the cool part about doing what I do for a living, is I can watch a movie unfold in front of my eyes and watch it ahead of time before I even get up there. And I got to know my game plan. I have to have a game plan. All right? Now, okay, you go up there, and all of a sudden, you're going to check bolts. Now, you have a bolt out of there. Now, here's the problem. This is where the time consumption comes in. Let's say you have a bolt missing. Obviously, it fractured. It's out of there. Gone. See you. Good night, Gracie. Now, we got a problem. All right? Number one, you replace that bolt. You torque it. Now, guess what you have to do next? You better torque and replace the bolts 1 or 2, 3 ahead of that, and 3 after that. Because after that bolt has left and fractured and left and fallen out, you have to wonder what kind of stress the other bolts previously were to that bolt, and therefore also the bolts after that. So now you're in for bolt replacement, man. Now you got to replace all those bolts, torque them, and who knows? And I'll tell you what, to do that, okay, replace the bolt. That takes about 4 minutes. Replace it, torque it, about 3 minutes, and then check the other bolts, unbolt them. To do 8 3/4-inch bolts in a ballpark, that's 15 minutes, easily, if you're efficient. And then you're not done. You've only gotten started. And really, you're going to PM this whole freaking roller coaster? Good heavens. For whatever you can physically get at walking this thing, otherwise you're going to be up in a JLG, looking at everything. Come on, man. And then not only that, but how often do they magnaflux all of these welds? that are currently holding that roller coaster together.
Yeah, and
my God, I would want nothing. Oh my God, nothing to do with that. It would be bad enough. Think about something bad enough being machinery, much less if you're transporting people for a transportation scenario. But that's not the case. This is entertainment.
Yeah.
Geez, oh man,
it's an inherent danger. Hey, JB, how you doing, man? Are you there? I thought he was here just for a second. He was here for a second. We'll just add him right back on. There he goes. Let's see. Something happened. I got a busy signal there. I'm trying to get a hold of Jason, who's overseas right now. I'm not even sure where he's at this time.
No, I'm here.
Oh, hey, JB. How you doing?
I just said I had to take a second.
Oh, that's all right. We got you up and running. How's it going?
What's up, fellas?
All right, good heavens. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, how you guys doing tonight?
We're
finer than frog here, I tell you.
Yeah, we've been shifting gears and talking about a lot of different stuff.
If I was doing it better, I'd be twins.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say, where's Peter? Did Peter say he was going to be on this last week, or was his last week last week?
I think his last week was probably last week, and we're going to miss him because just so full of great knowledge and everything, and of course he's just a very enjoyable person. So
he's a conversationalist.
Oh yeah, and of course, last week, I apologize, I was off. I had a migraine. It just happens to be one of those things that goes with the lupus. So, and this, we just got done with, and I think right now we're at Lupus Awareness Month. So, if you get a chance or whatever and you can donate, please do. And also to the veterans out there, if you're having problems with PTSD or anything else, don't try to battle it by yourself. Okay, reach out, contact the VAs, contact the suicide hotline, contact a brother or a sister that you serve with. Talk to somebody. Okay, make somebody aware of where you are. What's going on. No need to fight the demons by yourself. We believe me, we already know how tragic this is at 22 people a day. It's just an unacceptable number. So, reach out if you could. Okay. Anyway,
what's the stance with the military? What is their stance on this whole PTSD thing? I understand that they put it out there, categorize it, yada yada yada. What is their stance on this? Do they take any type of action to say, hey, we've caused this, or they're just kind of it just tends to happen?
Well, here's the thing. World War I, it was shell shock. And
I was going to say.
And then, and they were aware that, under long periods of duress and, fighting and everything else, yes, this does happen. It's very hard on the brain. And then it became battle fatigue. And then it became, PTSD.
George Carlin does a whole skit on this. I love it.
Yeah, and he does. It went from 2 syllables to 4 syllables to 8 syllables.
Yep.
And he was phenomenal. But he was, he hits the nail right on the head, and it is one of those things now that I don't think they were fully aware of the overall effect that it had.
Well, I guess my question is is this a conscious crisis where it's you're doing something that is morally wrong, and then you're combative in your inner self forever beyond that? Or is it literally the way that they kind of rework you, as in break you down, build you back up?
Well, here it is. And okay, for me, back in I watched from the time that I was 12 years old. We did a show on this over a year ago. From the time I was 12 years old, I watched my dad suffer and everything. So it had a dramatic effect for me. I watched this poor man go through everything that you can imagine. And it took him 10 years, 11 years to die. And of course, it affected me. 2 years later, my brother was in the Marines. He was shot point blank range by another Marine. Okay. Shot right in the head, and it blew off the back of his head. From that point on, I was so mortified and just the different emotions that went through your mind, that goes through your mind and everything else. I had been on medication 28 years, okay, trying to deal with it. I had dreams of seeing it happen over and over again. It's so vivid. I would wake up in the middle of the night. My wife, my wife can tell you. Wake up in the middle of the night, screaming or just getting up and. It's now imagine from a military's perspective on top of it. And of course, I'm a veteran myself, so imagine, and I know because I've treated some of the people that have come back or whatever and worked on them at different stages of my life, and not only in the military, of course, the guys I serve with did too, but we had seen it firsthand, some of the people that came back, missing arms or a leg or something else from IED, or especially in today's world. I mean, one of my best friends, Jeff, he shot 2-3 times, has metal all over him. He's you know what I'm saying? Now he's an incredible person. He's but he deals with it. But it had gotten so far out of whack for me, and of course they're giving you medication. So now they're giving this medication to you to try to deaden the pain that you have from the images. But the images that people don't understand is with war, it's not an 8-hour job. Okay? It's 24/7. Now, when you're over there in the desert, and I've talked to so many of these guys, okay, and gone through this so many times with them and helped out. I mean, I've been on various different pages to help them out and to talk with them and everything. And I understand where they're coming from because I know what I suffer with. So they're smelling, of course, the different smells from the gunfire, from the bombs. You're seeing it, you're hearing it, you're tasting it, you're smelling the blood. You're basically tasting it all. The sandstorms and everything else, the dirt. You're living with the indigenous, the life that's over there, the different creatures over there, from the spiders to the scorpions to the snakes. On top of fighting, on top of fighting the enemy, okay. And then you have to worry about the IEDs. Okay, hey, here's a garbage bag on the side of a road. Or you're coming up.
Well, not even that. Just a child, a child come walking up to you, and you're thinking, hey, it's harmless, and the next thing you know, boom.
Yeah, and I mean, then you have the snipers, then you have the different things. Okay, you're constantly so alert and so awake all the time. Your body is just in survival mode. Okay, and
it's hard to snap out of that.
Yeah.
You snap out of
it rattles you on your nerves. I mean, and once you get it that deep, like you said, you can't really shake it. I got a good friend of mine who watched his buddy get blown up by a grenade, and he said he's like I saw it all right there next to me. He says he was like 15 feet away, and he got a little shrapnel in him, but I mean, he just said he saw him literally just get ripped apart. And he said that he was having dreams for like the first 6 months afterwards where his buddy was coming and like talking to him. And he said, just as you, they were very vivid. He said it was almost like it was real. And, they gave him a whole bunch of meds. And, I don't want to say he's kind of, like spaced out, but it's just hard to kind of like to tell whether or not you're talking to him or if you're talking to this kind of like, now version of him, It's like there's such a tear between the two.
You have... I had hallucinations, and of course, it became exasperated because you get a normal depression just with me having the lupus. That added on to it. Just the different things in life, too, kicking the crap out of you. But dealing with all that and then dealing with everything else, I can tell you, I had hallucinations. But in these dreams, I was having the same dream over and over again. And I'm right there. There was nothing that I could do. Okay? So I'm reliving this, and it was every night. And it was, okay, now how do I keep this away from everyone seeing me so that people don't have the stigma of he's crazy or he's nuts? So you're living a double life. It's the same way with these guys, except they can't, because a lot of times when they come back, the wife doesn't understand exactly everything. Maybe you know, or the husband doesn't when his wife comes back from war. You know, because it affects both women and men. So imagine that they come back. They're carrying a gun around in the middle of the night because any noise that they hear spooks them. 4th of July's no more. That's not fun anymore. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, because you hear the bombs blow up,
That's
and like
right.
I said, it takes you right back. Like you're there in a place around your family and friends, but literally you snap into like war zone mentality of like, you know, don't walk up, don't touch, don't come close, like just leave me alone. I've seen people do that, and it's terrible watching them.
Yeah, and it is, and imagine how that they feel. Okay, you're frightened, you're scared, you don't know why that you're having those feelings. You know, part of you knows that you're at home. Sometimes you're moving over a couple lanes on the highway when you see trash on the side and everything like that. Your body gets adjusted to fighting a war, and that's why a lot of them want to go back. Okay, and people don't understand that. You put them back into a familiar spot to where they can't hurt your family. See, they can put in their mind, my family's safe, it's back in the United States. You bring them back into the United States, the whole family thing falls apart. A very high divorce rate, very high, ridiculously high suicide rate, okay? They can't understand. And then you want to put them into a group and say, hey, let's all talk about it. Well, nobody wants, I didn't want to talk about that in a group. Okay, I did it one-on-one, and I asked for that because I was like, listen, these people don't want to hear about my problem. We all know what we have. Okay, for me, I want to talk it out, but I want to talk it out with one person. I can do it quietly, you know, and privately, and tell you my deepest, darkest fears without the whole room knowing, or I feel like I'm not measuring up, or you know, make them feel like their problems is less than mine, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So for me, group therapy did not work. A lot of them will go to a page because you can text and message. You're not including a face. You're not including anything that is going to be, and they're scared too, because if some of them are still in the military and they're having this problem, they don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want to get kicked out. Because then you got to sit there and then you got to fight to try to get the benefits that you really are entitled to. Okay.
I've seen people have to go for that and get denied, and that whole, you know, like that's even more terrible. You know, to go to come back like that and then to be mistreated like that. You know, like in my opinion, I don't care what anybody says. Like vets should get the best of benefits, like hands down. Like there's no reason that they should have to fight for anything. And the fact that there's been so many people mistreated across all of these hospitals, that, you know, who's going to stand up and sit there and take the accountability that, yeah, we messed up and that we need to step this up and we need to do better. Like, these people need that. I mean, they deserve it.
Well, you
sign on that line. I mean, come on. Like, I don't care if you're 18 years old. If you want to go over there and dodge bullets, you should be able to drink alcohol. Like, you're giving up your life. There's people over here that'll sit there and do the worst things ever, hurt people, the whole everything, and they'll never grab a gun and go fight for this country. They'll say they would, but they won't. It's terrible.
It gets frustrating when you see people that, and this really does bother me, and I guess this is why I kind of changed my position on my political parties, was that I saw people that had not a clue about the military, not a clue what we did, but villainized it. You know, made us seem like we were some kind of an evil force. Okay,
which you're not.
And you know, basically no respect for us. Step on our flag, burn your flag. You know, you add all that in. okay, and there's an anger that comes with it. For me, our flag is one of those things. Don't burn it in front of me, okay? Don't throw it on the ground. Don't walk on it. It's not a matter of I might punch you. It is I will attack you.
Right. Well, that's just because that's blatant disrespect on your end. You've given up so much more for it. That's a symbol to you.
That
like
symbol
a lot of people,
is every person.
They'll buy those little novelty ones for the 4th of July and wave them like I'm somebody. But it's like to the people who serve, like that's their religion. They believe in it so much that they carry that. And for people over here to sit there and disrespect it, I don't blame you one bit. I'd walk up to somebody if I were you and I'd punch them in the face too. I'd be like, you have no respect, and you doing this disrespects me and every other soldier, whether they're alive or dead. Like people we have a respect problem in this country where people don't want to sit there and just give respect where it is due. People just want to talk and not do. We need to do. We need to stop talking and start walking.
Yeah, these same people, though, are the first ones that'll protest. They're the first ones that'll burn down towns. They'll litter the place. Yeah. They'll do the things that they're doing because they're unhappy at the moment, and they're throwing a temper tantrum. Yeah. And then they
No, that is just a word.
And it's one of those things. Listen, I'll tell you what, we are coming up upon a break here. So what we're going to do here is in 1 second, I think we shall take that break. And, on that note, why don't we just do that? So be right back with us on Show Us, Don't Tell Us. And Skillzzz, what do you say? Give us something to lead out with here.
Good heavens, we will. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening so far to the show. It's going to get better because the last hour rolls oh so very quickly, and we'll be back in a jiffy.
Open Eyes Network now airs a live simulcast on YouTube. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/Open Eyes Network, features not just our live content, but other videos as well, and is always active. So now you can tune in many different ways. Open Eyes Network shows air Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live. Be sure to visit OpenEyesNetwork.com to find easy-to-use links to get to all of the places that you want to listen to our shows. And don't forget, all of our shows will now be archived as well on YouTube.
There is a better radio show, beyond that which is known to the people. It is a radio show more informative than others, and as timeless as infinity. It is the equilibrium between light and dark, between the sheeple and the paranormal, and it is heard at the base of man's ignorance and at the summit of his knowledge. This is the radio show of imagination, a show we call The Secret Teachings.
Open Eyes is dedicated to finding the truth in all matters. We are not afraid to be politically incorrect or to ask questions. Whether it is the paranormal, government cover-ups, the dark agenda that the puppet masters have in store for us, or aliens and UFOs, nothing remains hidden. Listen to Open Eyes, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on LateNightInTheMidlands.com or OpenEyesNetwork.com. Open hearts, open minds, open eyes. Ben Franklin said, "If you do the same thing tomorrow as you did today, you're going to get the same tomorrow as you got today." Changing the world starts with you, and changing you starts with changing the way you think. Late Night in the Midlands can help. Listen to all of our shows at LateNightInTheMidlands.com, because things really do need to change.
Welcome back to Show Us, Don't Tell Us. And we were just talking here with Skillzzz and with Jess. And how you doing, guys?
Absolutely. We're finer than frog here, I tell you. Like I mentioned earlier, if I'd be doing any better, I'd be twins. And welcome back there, Jess.
Oh, you guys too.
Yeah, we were on the subject tonight, a little bit of the PTSD and the different things. Getting back to that, I think in today's world, it's very funny. If somebody invaded this country today, I wonder how many of those protesters and those different people would have a different view and a different light, be brought into the light, I should say, if the military was the only thing standing between them and them being enslaved or invaded and possibly, watch their whole family get wiped out. Would they be heroes at that point? And I guess that's one of those things that you pray it never happens, and that's why I'm glad that we have a very strong force. And when you look at this Earth, it's a small speck in the entire universe. Okay, it's almost insignificant. But it's the only one that we're aware of that can hold life. Okay, we have ideas now that there's other planets out there, but it's the only one right now. All right, and we're so busy thinking that we're, this great intelligent life. All right, with this world, we're willing to wipe each other out in order to try to be the big dog here. Okay, and we're a speck, we're a flea. That's basically what we are in the universe.
Actually, the way I look at it is, if somebody else is sitting back and watching this, we're just this like Super Bowl, all right, on a continuous and regular basis. We're currently watching the Super Bowl, and these guys are betting. Well, I think that these guys might take out these guys. Yeah, there you have it.
Yeah, I guess that. It's one of those things that we don't value life very, we don't do it very well. But I can tell you,
ants at an ant farm.
Yeah, and we are. What we have is we have a bunch of sick ants that have come back from war. We need to we do, and we need to straighten out our VAs. We don't want to see civilian doctors, okay? Because there's no way, if they've never been through what you've been through, that they can understand.
There's no empathy.
Yeah.
Michael, they don't have empathy.
Yeah.
Period.
And there's no way that they could possibly understand. There's no way that they can understand that this soldier has, he or she has gone through, has seen, has experienced with every single sense that their body has, okay, and is reliving it all the time because you've been thrown into a meat grinder. It's impossible. But if you have another veteran treating them, or somebody who understands, all the different mechanics of being a military person and what you go through, you're going to get better care. That's just my personal opinion, but I found it to be true. And I can tell you, I have no complaints with Dorn VA. They're rounding the corner. They have improved it and upped their game, and I'm very proud of them, and they take good care of me. Some of my brothers and sisters, and I know personally, have had some tough experiences with them, but overall, they saved my life, and, I can't thank them enough, it's not going to be something that I'm positive 100% of the time, because there's some things that they've done that I was like, really, why? But I think that this country does owe them, okay? They should enhance, if we've got money to give away, if we've got money to dump into other countries and other things going on, by God, you've got money to put into these VAs, upgrade them, take care of the vets, do the right thing. They have a problem. It's a legitimate problem. Help them solve it. And don't do it with a pill. Don't do it with the other crap. Try to help them. I mean, like I said, it took me 28 years to get off the medication, and that's because Jeff Rhodes came up to me, after my wife had called him, and he drove all the way across the dam, and he said, Michael, you have got to get off of this, crap. Right. He said, you got to get off of it, man. He goes, it will kill you, dude. You have got to get off of it. And I probably, had it just been somebody else, I probably wouldn't have listened. But because he was a veteran, because I know what he went through, because I've seen it firsthand, I said, you know what, I got to get off of this. And I was losing my mind. So,
did they ever get you some pills called Seroquel?
Oh yeah, I've tried that. I've tried that. I've tried Prozac. I've tried Wellbutrin. I've tried Latuda. I've tried Lexapro. I've tried Effexor. I've tried. Listen, man, I've been all the way down the list, okay, because I couldn't kick the bad dreams.
Have you tried medical marijuana? Have you tried that?
I have lupus, and for me, I cannot be high at any point. I don't like the feeling. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink. There's been one time in the past, probably I couldn't tell you how many years, that I actually had too much to drink over at a neighbor's house, and I was with my wife.
Have you tried not smoking the marijuana? Have you tried juicing with it? To where you're not getting psychoactive component,
vaping.
The medicinal.
Well, here's the thing for me, just because I have lupus, okay, and because I'm pretty aware of everything that goes on with it. It's a very tricky disease for me, and Barry will tell you, it has taken me through the ringer, and anytime you have an autoimmune, I'm very, very careful. As far as that goes, I have one bad habit, and I'm working on quitting that. But other than that, I live such a clean life. I am very active, but I am in pain in the morning. I am in pain at night, and I'm real careful about what can throw me in a flare and what can't. And it's just one of those things. I've got to learn to deal with this, and have gotten much better dealing with this with a very sober mind. And,
Well, I want to be clear. If you do the juicing with it, it's not going to be psychoactive. You're not going to get quote-unquote high. What you're going to do is get literally a balancing of your body in its overall stasis. It will balance it completely out. Now, I mean, you can look into some of the research, what they're doing with, like, cancer and these child cancers. I mean, they're showing that, like, weed is not just out there for people to get high. They're showing that it has medicinal health effects that people aren't talking about, and that are really not even being, like, review tested. Yeah, at all.
Yeah, and, I've fought cancer too.
I don't like putting stuff in mine either. Like, I don't like to drink. I don't like any of that stuff. I don't want pills. I don't want no junk in my body.
I can tell you, I've had a couple of battles of encephalitis. I've had sarcoidosis. I have the lupus. I have staph infection that just about killed me. I had cancer. And I call it, and I've said this before, Skillzzz has heard me. It's a 15-round title fight, okay? And he'll tell you.
And you're like, I only signed up for 12.
Yeah, well, this one's a 15-rounder, and I can tell you that it's going all the way, and so am I. And, whoever comes up the winner on the scorecard, well, that's the winner on the scorecard. So it's been one of those things that I've been cut into a lot of times. It's gotten a little bit into my organs, but the doctors were able to, stabilize everything. I've been very blessed. So if it ain't broken,
don't fix it.
Yeah, I'm very paranoid, and of course I'm allergic to narcotics, so that's one of those things. There's only a couple that I can take, and one of them happens to be the one that Michael Jackson actually died on. That is the one that I am able, where they can put me completely under. They tried to give me a little bit of one called the Twilight, and I said, listen, I'm going to wake up, and I kick and twitch and do all kinds of stuff. I mean, in my sleep study, I had 165 events within 1 hour. And they came in and clicked the light on instantly, and the guy said, "Oh my goodness!" He goes, "Oh, holy crap, you're something else." So,
how long did you serve?
I was in all the way from 89 till 97, 98, 97. That's when I got my and I did extra year of active, and then did of course the rest of my active reserve time. But that's because I took a extra school. I did an A school and a C school right afterwards. So, you got a little payback there. But it was one of those things, and I couldn't even imagine what I'd be like today had I been in combat. But, lucky for me, either God was watching out for me, and I feel very blessed. I saw the after effects of it, and I have worked with multiple vets that have had problems, and I can tell you that I can see vividly in dreams a lot of times, especially when I was working with them one-on-one, almost reliving it through them. It is one of those things, and I found out later on that just happens to be one of the things of experiencing something bad yourself that has shocked your body. And it's amazing what you learn as you go. But now that I'm aware of it, and now that I'm more in control of it, and I'll be in better control of it than a lot of the other veterans world, because, well, they were there firsthand. So, but I can tell you that knowing what I know from my own experience, it's no cakewalk. It's very real. It's very scary. It's very spooky. And I've seen how it's decimated, personally, friends who have committed suicide and who have done this. I mean, it's upsetting. It is. And
well, I often have the tendency to wonder if what they're giving you as being medicine is, like, how much to the degree is it helping, and how much is it possibly even debilitating? As far as making what could, like you said or whatever, through group therapy and stuff, like, could be kind of brought down. What if it literally, like, raises anxiety? And unbeknownst to your knowledge, like, doctors basically lying to you, they could be giving you something that could be triggering something that they know if you take it now, it could affect you 5 years from now or 10 years from now. Well, I mean, like, in the state of today when it comes to vaccines, we're learning that, like, things that they were giving people 30, 40 years ago are starting to affect people in their 30s, 40, they're just starting to turn out with this, or shingles, or, it just has to make you wonder.
Oh, yeah, I had that too. I just got over that. Yeah, but let me tell you, I had a couple of them that did work, but they had a side effect to them that was not, well, it was unbecoming to me. I was taking the Effexor XR, and God, in my dreams, that thing turned me into a porn star. So,
Jeremy.
I mean, it was so.
Jeremy should have just been called Bigfoot.
Yeah, that one. So I couldn't take that one, any longer, because it was just like, oh my God, it was just, and it was.
Waking up in the morning with massive erections, just oh my God, this has got to stop.
Well, it was just very uncomfortable all the time too. I mean, I wasn't just thinking about one woman; it was different women, and I married, and I was thinking, oh, this isn't right. So, right. Of course, I went right in after that one after a while and said, this ain't working. And I guess the next best one that I had was. Well, I mean, I've tried so many different ones, but I would say the Prozac did okay, but then it started to wear off, and everything started to come back, and then it became more enhanced, so I had to get off of that one too. The other ones were pretty much crap. Didn't work for me, but different side effects for different people on different medications. So, the worst one I took was Latuda. That one there, that one made me paranoid, and you don't know it, okay? It's not like, and I've said this before, it's not like you can walk into the bathroom and look at a mirror and ask the mirror, hey man, how's everything going today? And expect some kind of a response back from the mirror saying, dude, you're screwed up. It doesn't work that way.
It's like, what am I seeing today?
Yeah, you're a mess, man. You don't get that. So, for me, taking Jeff's advice was probably the best thing, and I was still having side effects and withdrawals from all those years of medications. And then of course add on, you're taking medicines, for the lupus. So add prednisone into the factor. Add in, the different other things that you're taking, the cholesterol medicine. Add in, the Motrin, add in, the different, things that I was fighting at the time, the antibiotics or whatever else that I was taking, they were giving me for the lupus. It's one of those things to where, okay, now you have so many medicines in your body and you're one big chemical chest.
Yes, and they're giving you counter medicines to counter these medicines. I mean, that's got to be terrible.
And I was taking, I was taking a depression medicine and then the Latuda on top of that because I couldn't calm myself. I was up. There were times I was up in the middle of the night, okay, and I would wake right on up out of any type of sleep. And I mean, I didn't deep sleep at all. I was one of those that I could sleep, but I could hear everything going on. I know who was coming in, who was going out. I even put in an elaborate alarm system to try to calm myself. So I have cameras and everything else, but I found myself checking those all the time. I found myself walking around the house, checking all the locks, checking all the windows, checking all the, just everything.
Would you say it was a degree of paranoia? Like, I also feel like this, like, do you feel safe?
You know what? Not only did I not feel safe, but I was having dreams on somebody breaking in, and who do I protect first? And you're trying to protect everybody, so you become really aggressive so that you can take out what you perceive as an evil thing right away, okay? And you right away want to quell that before it can hurt anybody in your house because you love everybody. But at the same time, you're hurting everybody because your wife's looking at you when you sit up in bed and all of a sudden you go down and you start walking around, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And,
she can tell you're bothered, and then that bothers her.
Right. And the same with the kids. And, of course, you're on edge, and you have the tolerance of a Wolverine because you're tired and your body is tired. And, you become in a very protective mode. And, yeah, you do become paranoid because you're hallucinating. And I can tell you, I've been to places in war that I've never been before in my life. And I couldn't tell you why until the doctor was telling me, okay, while you're helping these veterans, understand you are a very empathetic person and you're reliving things that they're doing. So I kind of had to...
Of course you're empathetic, Michael.
Yeah.
You're Mr. Empathetic guy.
So I had to actually step back. I have probably 3 or 4 that I still am in contact with that I do help out every time that they need it because they have to know that I'm there. But I stepped back from the various page and I would start to look up the information of local hospitals or contact the police while somebody else on the page was talking directly with the veteran that's in crisis or distress at the time. Because with me doing it, and then you have to say the right things. You have to be able to reach out. So it's all on the communication and everything else. It's very hard to reach somebody. How are they going to trust you? Okay, yeah, you're a veteran, okay, but how are they going to trust you if you're a non-combatant? For me, being in the medical field did help. And they would trust me a little bit more there. And second of all, because my brother. So if I could go through and relate my story a little bit on what I'm dealing with and what I'm seeing and everything else, I can reach them. And, then you're developing that one thing, that one common thing that you have in order to help them. It's very difficult to do. When I see somebody go to a civilian person, they're like, oh, you'll be okay. Everything will be fine. No, it's not. It's not okay. It's not fine. If that were the case, we wouldn't have 22 or more a day committing suicide. So that philosophy is crap. Okay?
Well, I think that's where the big eye-opener is of, like, just literally the mistreatment of it is I don't want to say, putting the dust under the rug, but it's almost like
it's putting the dust under the rug.
Well, yeah, their idea is like their salt that they're sprinkling on the problem is these pills. You know, all these different various pills, just being like, oh, there's a pill for this, or there's a pill for that, and oh, we got a new pill, and oh, we got another one. I mean, in all reality, if you look at the side effects of these things, nothing that is in there is good. None of it. None of the side effects in there are good for anyone.
No,
and that's what I just got to ask. Like, is this really the proper medicine?
I'm going to tell you,
when it comes to the doctors, you're not really getting care. You're just getting a guy who has no attachment to you. He doesn't really care. You're just a patient, and he's just prescribing what he's told to do.
What I am seeing more of now is actual veterans lift for the 22. Okay, Lift for the 22 is a group, and they're on Facebook, but they're nationwide. They're actually out of Beaverton, Oregon. These are veterans that suffer and that have gone through things. So what they've done is they're a 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization. They take donations, and they're actually getting the veterans gym memberships at wherever. So, like for me, example, here I am in Irmo. They would say, okay, contact your local gym. We're going to set this up, whatever, and get me a membership there, which is at no expense to me because of the donations that come in. Now, of course, I'm sure some of the veterans that are now in there help donate and stuff, I would hope, or the different people, but they have provided a bunch of gym memberships to veterans, which gives them an outlet, a release. And of course, you ask any veteran, a lot of them do work out. My body can't. I have to be active, but I used to lift every day until I was 45, and the pain became so excruciating that I finally I stepped back from it. And I mean, great, I was built like a brick wall, but at that time, my body just said no more. You can't do this. And then I was starting to have kidney problems, and then I was starting to have gallbladder and liver problems, and finally I stepped back. And now I live a very quiet, mellow, hey, I cut grass, I work on cars, I do stuff like that, I'm active, but I can't do that. I can't go back in there and do something like that because it's too much of a shock to my body with what I have. It actually is a negative for me. And then they try to tell me it's a positive, and they're full of crap. I think each person has to do what they want. But these guys provide to veterans, and it's helped. Okay? It's proven. It's working. And it's working for them. And I can't thank them enough. I mean, it's Lift for the 22. And, those guys really bust their butts, and they care, okay? And they're there for their brothers and sisters, providing, these memberships. I mean, how do you repay that? How do you repay that? Okay, how do you? A thank you is just not enough. I mean, that's an incredible thing to do, and of course, it's done by veterans. Okay, I mean, this isn't a scandal where people can get. At one point, the Wounded Warrior Project had some people in there, and of course they cleared house now, and they've turned things back around. But they had people that were skimming off the top. I
think that's in almost anything these days.
How can
bullshit?
How can you do that to these guys?
Bullshit.
And thank God that these guys they're straight arrow, man. They believe me, when you're running a 501c3. On a page that I was working on before, you better be dead on accurate, because the government watches that stuff, They watch it real carefully. So, but there's some great groups out there that honestly care, that, try to get the resources to these guys, and sometimes it's too late. And it's maddening. and that's what it is. It's maddening. But what are you going to do? I mean, we have to figure out a way. So we have to make our VAs better. And the only thing I can think of is, at least with this president, I don't know if he's going to be good or bad. I don't know. Okay. I knew it, for me, he was different. And I'm willing to give that a shot because the same old didn't work. Okay?
Well, I mean, we have to take the reality into focus. It's like Bernie, I think, was a good guy, but you just don't know what you were going to get, you know? Hillary, you knew what you were going to get.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, and Trump jumps out as the wild card, but I mean, from the stance that I have, you know, nobody does everything right. So, you know, like I try to tell anybody and everybody that will literally like break from their vision and just hear it's like, you know, Trump is trying to do what he thinks is right. What have we heard from so many people for so many years? I just want a president that does the right thing, not does what this person tells him to do or what this person tells him to do. That someone who would just take it upon himself to say, hey, you know what? We need to do the right thing. And I feel like he's in there trying to do that. But you have the Democrats that are like, no, listen, like our rich friends want it this way. The Republicans are like, hey, we want it this way. I just want someone to go in there and say, hey, like whatever happened to America first or the country, like the people, you know, you don't have to jump the whole God thing in there. It's just get back to the idea that like, hey, we need to be there for each other. We need to do what's right for us. We need to stop going to war. I mean, that's just plain and simple. You want to save people and help people, stop sending them to go and destroy someone else's life with no connection to that person, to lose the connection to themselves. Well, you know, like that's the most terrible thing is that people are literally destroying themselves, going off to do what they think is the right thing.
Well, and granted, I would say, you know, I like a lot of the actions that he's done. Sometimes I want to take his tweets away or take the microwave, take the microphone away from him and just say, just do the job. You know what I'm saying? I think you're going to do a good job. Just do the job. You know, right. But you know, he is the POTUS, and that's all there is to that. And they'll just have to get over it. But you know, the thing is that if you followed the money trail over all these years, didn't matter which political party, okay. There was so much greed. The last good president that I can think of was Reagan, and you know the guy was straight up. Everyone loved him.
Movie star.
Yeah,
they used his fame.
He was a wild card. People laughed because he was a movie star, and he ran for president and he won. Nobody gave him a chance. And he won. Oh,
God. Trump the same way. I mean, no one was really like, yo, Trump's going to win. Everyone was just kind of like, you know, they just sat back with their arms crossed like, you know, we'll see what happens. But, I mean, I'm really glad that Julian Assange came out with what he came out. I mean, look at all this Russia crap that's been going through the news waves or whatever. What if they came out and stated, well, we have not found anything. We have not, you know, like, okay, now Comey gets fired. We were talking about this last week. It's like you don't go and fire somebody unless they messed up at whatever was going on before. Now, I think Trump told Comey in the first couple of days, you stick it to Hillary, you do what I need you to do, you fall in line with me or whatever, and you will have your job. He failed. He failed the country. He failed himself. And we've got to sit back here and watch this whole backlash. It's like, you know, I personally think Hillary, Bill, all of them, like all their friends over there in Saudi Arabia, like those people all need to come to justice. Like, bottom line, like, these people are the ones that have been sending our, you know, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, fathers, everything across the line or whatever, into all these countless wars, Benghazi, like, all these other things. And it's like, for what? For their own good deed. Look at Haiti. Look at all the money that was, you know, made and how much of it actually went to Haiti and how much of it went into their pockets.
No, you look at the deadliest place on the planet, just about militarily wise. And a lot of people you don't hear about it that much, but it's Yemen. Okay? It's a mess over there. A lot of bad things are going on. You know what I'm saying? But here's the problem with the United States.
The religion talk is what's really like caused so many of the wars because everyone's got their difference of opinion on what they think is right.
But what you have
suffering is wrong. I don't care what race, creed, religion you are. Like human suffering is a problem. Famine is a problem. Sickness is a problem. Like these things are universal. It doesn't just attack someone, it attacks everyone. Everybody can be at fault to these things. Everybody can be hurt by this.
Well, and Skillzzz will tell you that this was one of the things that and Skillzzz chime in here there were too many diversified groups. The problem is when you have a bunch of people in different groups with different ideas, no matter what it is, whether it's transgender, whether it's lesbian or gay or straight or you know, you have a Shiite or you know, or Shia, or you know, whatever different groups that believe in different things and have a different cause for themselves, they lose focus on everybody else but that cause. Do you understand? They focus on their one cause, and everybody else becomes insignificant. Same with BLM and everything else. Am I right, Skillz? I mean...
Here is the bottom line. It goes something like this. All right, look. You have two restrooms. Okay, on the doors, they perceive a gal's girl, a gal's guys. You know, and you have the girls with the dress on the front of the door, and the guys, you know. Well, I'll tell you what. You know, why don't we classify them as indoor plumbing or outdoor plumbing? All right, period. Be done with it. Good heavens. Come on, man. This isn't a freaking puzzle.
Actually, you have three restrooms. You have men's, you have women's, and then you have the family restroom. Okay?
Well, the family restroom is for changing babies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And so what group is that going to create? Here's my thing. The problem.
Don't start any crap, and there won't be no crap. Come on, man. I know where you're headed.
Okay. So my point is this: until everybody is grown up enough to let everybody live in freedom without making a point, okay? And I would tell you that Morgan Freeman said it best. It offends him that there is a Black History Month. Why? He said, you know what? Let's just not talk about it. He said, let's not talk about it. Let's not bring it up. It's not.
You're almost creating more of a problem by having it. Not saying that there's any less to go around anyway, because I don't mean it as such. It's just that the more that you make it something, it creates something. It's like I look at this, and I've known this all through my life coming up. Hate is something you learn. You're not born with it. It's not something that like grows inside of you. It is something that literally you pick up culturally around you. It's from the things you see, the things you hear people say, what you're told. Like it's all brainwashing. Everything from school to religion is straight up brainwashing. And if you are not smart enough to think, then I mean, like that's your problem. You lack the ability to be creative, to sit there and question things. There's nothing wrong with questioning things. To me, it's the healthiest thing you can do.
The biggest genocide in the face of the earth had to be the Indians. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Hey, Henry Ford came right out and said, if you think the government has your best intentions in mind or whatever, look at the American Indian. Yeah. I mean, there is no truer statement to that.
But you know what? You don't see them out there, and they're getting a bum deal. Only when you start giving them bad water and everything else. And I mean, we gave them crappy lands. We did everything. We should be ashamed. And I can't say we, because actually my father, his father came from Greece. But I'm just saying that at any time in this world, there's been one group that's been enslaved by another. But you know what? Do you know why people don't talk about it? Because they don't bring it up. They don't bring it up. There's no Indian month. There's nothing like that.
People don't want to be called out on something or questioned. And I'm like, hey, if you speak your mind and you stand firm to it, someone's going to come along and support you. And when you can get that support, it's going to make you feel like you're doing the right thing. But when you're condemned at the moment you open and spell your tongue at somebody, I mean, like that's the problem. They have us thinking that you can't say this because it's not politically correct. Well, hey, I don't want to be politically correct. I just want to be fair. It doesn't necessarily have to be right, but fair. Right. I want to look at both sides and give a good, honest perspective.
Well, let me tell you something. This is how you successfully live in harmony with your neighbors, your so-called neighbors. You barber. Done.
Yeah.
Game over. Done.
Well,
I'll barter with you.
Yeah, you do. You have to have a mutual respect for everybody. And We have taught this young generation, and there's been a lot of crime and everything else, that, oh, okay, well, you're owed. And here's the thing. No, you're not. Listen, what happened was a travesty of justice back then, but you're not owed. You know what? You think that you're owed for something that happened 200, 400 years ago. I'm going to tell you that at some point in your life, you're going to have to understand that nobody owes anybody. What you do owe them is respect, to treat them with decency, to treat them with love and with understanding. And we have so many people driving down the highway, cut each other off, pull out guns, flip each other off. We have groups of gang members that attack an innocent person and beat him down to the ground and then videotape it and put it out on Facebook, and then they don't realize they've ruined their lives, and they're like, oh, you got knocked the blank out. You know what? I'm sorry, and you think you're owed, and you have a right to do that?
Culture of social media, though, where people are out there like challenging other people to do idiotic things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I used to watch Beavis and Butthead when I was a kid, and they used to sit there and spell it up as like, oh, this is terrible, and people are going to go and do this, and people are going to go and do that. No. When you started getting things like social media and the internet and these things, that's where all these people have kind of like sprung off and been like, oh, look at me, see what I'm doing? Then you got 10 other people trying to do it. Then you got 100 and 1,000. Like, these things spread like a wildfire. Someone somewhere knows what they're doing and what they're leading on to and what they're creating.
Yeah, and I think that it's come down to that humanity has lost soul. And really, that's what it is. Empathy.
I think morality is what's been killed.
That's all. No, it's soul. It's empathy. It's sympathy. It's love. It's charity. It's hope. Okay?
I am spiritual above religious because I believe that, like, our inner being has the know-it-all. Everything that was ever meant to come to anyone is inside of us. It's not something we have to have externally.
That's why it's called soul. It has nothing to do with religion. It is gifts that you're born with. Everybody is. How you choose to use the information and use those gifts is entirely up to you. But you should have empathy. You should have.
And then it's up to us to see these things.
Yeah.
And then it's up to us to react to these things.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
how you know whether or not you're in the right place or doing the right thing, is by the things going on around you. If you pay close enough attention, whether you wake up and you have a thought, or you, like you were saying, it's like you smell something and it takes you back to that memory. Like, there's certain things that go on around us all the time that are trying to lead us in the right direction. And then what do? We let that thing called our mind control us, fear us, scare us, prevent us from doing the things. We overthink.
Oh, fear. Fear.
I'm super empathetic. I think literally, like, if you follow your heart, you're always going to do the right thing. It's the moment we start thinking, then you get conniving, then you get freaking stealing, thieving, lying, like, just the negativities that just come from it.
Tom, how you doing, man? Are you there?
G'day. Sorry, I just had to unmute myself, so.
Yeah, there he is. There he is.
I'm doing my usual call in when I knock off work, so.
Welcome aboard, Tom. Good heavens. Sounds like you're drunk.
Sorry, what?
He's probably at work right now.
Hey, Tom had this. There was this cool thing that I did see on Facebook, and I wanted to change gears again here real quick. I was watching.
Was that the road works?
It was the road construction. I mean,
I commented on your post.
Yeah, I saw that, man. That was like really cool. You should have seen how these guys were laying down this road. If you're on Facebook and you see this thing about Australia,
is that a fact, Tom? Really? Did they do it?
Yeah, they actually do that. On the straight roads, you don't do it on a corner of a road because otherwise it just goes to crap. But
so is it a gravel road? Is it a tarred road? What exactly?
It's what they do is they come along and they put that first truck goes along and does a big layer of tar. Then you'll see the three. It's either 2 or 3. It depends on the size of the road. Sometimes 4, but trucks reversing, dropping gravel as they go. and then the steamrollers come in and flatten it and condense it into the tar.
Wow. Right. I mean, it was just the way that they were working on that thing, and it was crazy. And you just saw this thing going all the way down, and I was like, this is incredible watching him.
Yeah, like the first time I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's such a load of crap. But then I saw it being done for myself, and I was like, huh.
Well, the other one I saw was the train actually carrying the rail and from underneath it, and as it was going forward, it would actually extend outward, and this thing was like half, over the thing, and then start rolling this, pushing the rail from underneath the train forward.
Starts laying the tracks.
Yeah, man, on a bridge, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I was watching that.
That's how they do it.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, and I was like, but what? Europe has a rail system that we have yet to even come close to. I mean,
oh come on, Europeans do, but we're still paying off our railroad from the 1800s to England. So,
but I got to tell you, their rail system is second to none. I mean, it's like wow. We're working off of the rapid transit skills over on east whatever, right across from the Ford factory plant number 1.
Yeah. 130th.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that not the same thing? Has it not been the same thing forever and a day?
Yeah, man. Yep. Yeah, brother.
Yeah, it's almost like an amusement ride now. It makes all these god-awful noises. It goes side to side, and you're just praying it doesn't lean over at the wrong time and hit the oncoming one going the other way. It's like...
Oh, no, they close the railways when they do that. But, you're talking about the plants and that, yeah. Sorry, it's been a long day.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was like, wow. So how's everything going on over there?
Oh, well, I nearly killed the boss's grandson today.
That won't get
you.
The
solar panels, but go ahead. Yeah.
I'm on a roof. We've been putting in these fire sprinklers for the next bushfire season, just as a defense for the house and shed at work. And we put it in. We're on the roof, like we have been for the last couple of days, and the boss's grandson is putting him on as a trial person to sort of see how I'd go with him. I said to him, oh yeah, pass me the 2 shifters. And he was 2 meters away from me. All I had to do was pick him up and hand them to me. But no, he picked him up and threw him at me and hit me in the neck. I was just like, what the hell? Actually, I swore quite a bit. And then he just hit me in the side of the knee. I was about ready to kill him. And he's like, you told me to pass them to you. I said, yeah, pass, not throw it at me. And I sent the boss a message. He was inside doing paperwork. He heard all this yelling on the roof. I said, you better come and get him. Otherwise, this mother is going to have an accident. And he said, what? And I said, he's going to learn to fly real soon. So I don't think I'll be seeing him tomorrow. If I do, it'll only be in passing. He's one of those troubled kids. So I feel sorry for him in a way, but at the same time, I've got a bruise on my knee. So
yeah, not at your expense. Yeah, I get that.
So,
today's world, man, I'll tell you what, these kids, they are troubled. You do feel sorry for them, but you wish there was a solution to them where you could just get them to think. And it's like, oh, boy, think about what you're doing. Slow down, think. Ugh. Well, that's it. At least you weren't hurt too bad or anything, huh? Did I lose you, Tom?
Yeah, Tom will fade in and out at times.
Yep.
Because he's come from Sydney. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. Well,
he's on his way home from work, man. It's about 5 o'clock.
He'll pull over periodically just to see where his signal's at.
Well, he's got that. He's got
I don't pull over, man. I just look at my phone.
Yeah, he's got that.
Don't say that on there.
He's got that dual fuel thing where he can switch from one to the other.
People pull.
I did out the Australian Federal Police. It's good enough amount of fuel in both tanks.
I know, that still kills me. I love that. That's just a neat idea. They put it more.
Someone had to come up with it, so.
Yeah, I still wonder why we're lagging.
But it's really interesting because they brought it out like 10 or more, probably 15 years ago. Because Dad had a dedicated gas ute, which is propane or what is it? Liquid petroleum, which is the gas what we call gas. And his car was a 2 years old car, was a 2000 model, so they had it for there. But I remember they had, if you convert your car to gas, so you have dual fuel, so petrol and gas.
Well, you could retrofit that to anything, though. That's what I like. So
it didn't work at diesel at the time. I think now that engines have changed so much, it can.
Yep.
But you can't. All the older cars can't do it with diesel. But so basically, the government would say, yeah, if you convert to gas, we'll reimburse you 80%. So it costs $1,000 and you get $800 back. So you only pay $200 for it.
Yeah, we got this thing over here, the smart car. I call it the hockey puck. That thing. I hate
cars.
Yeah, I hate seeing those things on the road. They just scare the crap out of me. I keep thinking to myself, man, you're going to be a tin can. It's only a matter of time.
Like I mentioned, automated cars, good luck with that, man.
Yeah.
What about electric cars?
In your freaking senses and bank on an automated car, you're going to lean on that on a continuous and regular basis, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. To me, that's just, I don't know. I don't want something hitting the brakes for me that all of a sudden it just decides to do it because a rabbit runs in front of the road. It hits the brakes. The brakes don't, the calipers don't, you've got to keep your car in pristine shape because, most people, they don't know when they're supposed to change your brakes. They don't know when they're supposed to do all that stuff. Plus, it costs money. If you keep having to take your car in, it costs money. They can't afford to do that. So, they're not like, some of us that we change our own and make sure everything's... Yeah. So you have a car that's got one worn pad more than the other because the calipers aren't hitting right. And all of a sudden that thing hits the brakes for you and you go to the right. You know what I'm saying? I mean...
Right.
I mean, how do you prepare for, the rabbit that runs in front of the road or that stupid crow or vulture that's eating a dead animal in the road? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I always, and I tell people, I feel bad if a small animal goes in front of the road, but, unless it's a deer or a giant dog or something like that, if I can avoid it safely, I'll do it. If I can't and it gets hit, I feel bad, but at the same time, I can't risk 3 people in my car,
Right.
It's
exactly. You should slam your brakes on or a shot.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either. Plus, you don't know. People don't.
If there's no other alternatives.
People don't store stuff right in the back of their car, and most people today drive an SUV or a pickup truck, and they have loose stuff in the back. That stuff comes through the window or comes up, hits you in the back of the head, and now you have no control on your car. Store your stuff the correct way. Tie it down. Do something, be smart.
Exactly. Like all the pickup trucks here that are used for businesses and that you're legally required. You know how you got the back window of the cabin of the car, and then you got the tray of the pickup. You have to have a metal mesh there now. If it's a commercial vehicle, if it's a business vehicle, or any type of work vehicle at all, you have to have mesh there.
Yep. That's smart. That's smart. We don't have that here. You just whatever's in your car, you just take. I mean, people use their cars like a garbage can. They just throw litter in the back and they drive down the road and the wind blows and all of a sudden it's littered everything all the way down the road. Now the police are finally pulling them over down here when they see that. But, it's ridiculous. Don't do that. Throw your trash in the trash can. Do it the right way. Store your stuff the right way. Make sure your car is running well. Tires, brakes, all that stuff, and drivetrain, make sure it's running good so that you're safe.
Oh, there's nothing
The
better.
only time you should throw any form of rubbish from your car is when you see someone texting and driving. What you do is you overtake them.
Yeah, that's called assault over here. It's yeah, can't do that stuff. But yeah, that pretty much. We're getting to that point where we're gonna just we're getting ready to wrap stuff up here. We've got probably a couple more minutes here, about 8 minutes. Well, Tom, what you got? Give us your final thoughts here on everything.
Well, I only called in to the show when you were talking about the PTSD. And my cousin has PTSD from when he was in Afghanistan and that, so I have an idea of what it's like, but I don't know what it's like to be that person. But just support them and be there for them. But my word of advice for the day would be: if someone says pass something, don't throw it.
Yeah. You got a kneecap that says that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell your cousin thank you for his service, because we're grateful for it, because I know we're all on the same side. So. Well,
we were originally going to join up together, but I had to have some back surgery, so I wasn't allowed to apply for 10 years. That only just lifts this year, so at the end of this year, so.
Well,
yeah, that's how long it's been. Shit.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Jess, what do you have, man?
Nothing. I just figured with what Tom was saying there a few minutes ago, he was just talking about taking control of the situation. But other than that, you guys all have a good night, and I will let you guys sign off.
Alrighty then. Very good.
Yeah, we're down to about 7 minutes. Skillzzz, what do you have, brother?
Well, what do I have is finally, man, all these shows, we hit on all cylinders out of the gate in it. I feel as though it went extremely well. All right, that's how that went. And Mr. Michael, our engineer, our new engineer of the show, Michael, this was a great start and a great finish, and you're awesome. You're awesome.
Well, you know what, I'll tell you what, I enjoy it, and it's good information, and we talk about a lot of stuff. I know we shift gears a lot, but, that's the fun of it. You try to cover as much as you can. I will say that, it is Lupus Awareness Month, so if you get a chance, because, it does affect a lot of people, and it's a very harsh disease, autoimmune, and I can tell you that it does take its toll on you, so... be sympathetic, have some empathy, donate if you can. Maybe we can get a cure to this thing. That's the goal. And,
Love it, brother.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get that. We can make some progress with it. We're getting progress on a lot of different diseases, so, let's hope this is one of them that they can figure something out, hopefully. Other than that, I will say that for the veterans, please do get help, okay? There are so many good web pages, but those guys over there at, Lift for the 22, contact them, okay? Find yourself an outlet there. I know that, they've really tried to make it very good for their brothers and sisters that, have served and people that suffer, so... And, for the police officers, the EMS, the hospital workers, you suffer with it too. And people that have gone through anything traumatic, okay? It doesn't have to be military. It doesn't have to be police or anybody else. It can be victims of crimes. It can be anything. So have a little empathy. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Try to understand what they're going through. going back, touching over on this this drug thing with the heroin. If you have a problem, contact somebody to get off the drugs. Okay, there's a lot of rehab centers out there. Local hospitals can give you the information on that and everything. Don't be a statistic. Okay, get off of the stuff. Get help. Talk to somebody. But you know what? There's not always going to be Narcan around to help you. Okay, so don't take the chance.
Yeah.
Don't take the chance.
Unless you currently have that in your household, no.
Still don't take the chance. Yeah, still don't take the chance. Be good to each other, okay? It doesn't hurt to, be loving and be good to each other. And you know what? To all those moms out there that celebrated yesterday for Mother's Day, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for all the hard work that you do, watching the kids, taking care of the house. You know what? I know you're underappreciated, but we are so grateful. At least I know I am with my wife. God, I couldn't function without her. So, thank you to all the moms out there for all that you do. And you know what, everyone? You be good to each other. And I guess at this point in time.
And for those of you guys that currently want to hang around on Skype, just kick back and hang out. And thanks, guys and gals, for listening to our show.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, we're going to say join us next week on Show Us, Don't Tell Us. I'm sure we're going to have another show, and it ought to be pretty interesting. But thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, you have a wonderful week and a safe week, and be good to each other. Okay, God bless.
Safe.